Welcome to the fourth day of the week, Thursday on the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Together with Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah, we're always here to serve you for these 4 hours. Stay with us and enjoy the finest of morning television. Now, coming up this morning, we're going to give you the news. We'll serve you the news shortly. Right after that, we'll be hosting energy analyst Kojo Poku, who is our guest. But then we get into our big stories, and we put that question out there. 2 years into this NPP administration, how do you find how things have turned out? What is your opinion on the performance of this administration? We put the question out there. We'll be hearing from our viewers, audience in Kumasi, and we'd like to hear from you as well. What is your take on that all-important matter? Now, from there, after that conversation, as we host our guests, Dr. Ali Duseidu, Head Political Science Department at the University of Ghana, and Richard Ahiagba, MPP Director of Communications, together with Frederick Odro Ejako, Dean, Institute of Local Government Studies. Like I said, we'll be hitting the streets. My colleague Samuel Kojo will be getting the views of some of you. He'll be in Takoradi in the Western region for an analysis of President Akufo-Addo's second term so far. What do people think from different parts of the country? We'll be bringing that to you. But yesterday, we couldn't bring to you AM Business. It usually comes your way on Wednesday. Today, we'll bring you that. It's courtesy of EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. And Emma Davies' feature focuses on how tricycle riders in northern Ghana are surviving in these torrid times. Also coming up, graduate unemployment is a reality that the nation is grappling with. A bulk of graduates from universities and other tertiary institutions do not have any jobs to do, either because of non-existence of those jobs or the mismatch of knowledge they have acquired in school vis-a-vis the skills in demand in the workplace. Now, there is a university, Heritage Christian University College at Amasaman in Accra, that is proposing solutions to dealing with this challenge. We'll bring you details of that later on the show, but as always, we'd give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us because this show is all about you. Share your thoughts with us, your ideas, whatever it is that you think about the show with the hashtag AMShow. And when we activate the phone lines, call in. This is for you. On that note, let's settle for the news. Up next, do stay. Welcome to the news belt of the show. And in our first story, President Akufo-Addo is asking for workable solutions to address challenges identified with the customary land system in parts of the country. The system, which exists in most urban areas, especially here in Accra, entrusts lands in the hands of indigenous communities and is administered in accordance with their customs, as opposed to the statutory tenure system. Now, this is said to be responsible for the multiple sale of land. Addressing an ongoing National Land Management Conference, the president called for pragmatic ways of ending the menace.
Of land demands that its effective and efficient management requires the collaboration of various actors. Stronger partnership is required between government, judiciary, traditional authorities, civil society organizations, and the private sector to fashion out pragmatic and workable relationships to govern land ownership, land tenure, and land use. Unfortunately, in our urban areas, the customary land system has been the bane of most of our problems, such as double sales of land, wrongful sales of lands by people without capacity, multiple claims to land by different stools, skins, clans, or family, among others.
Prepare to pay more for road tolls. That's according to Roads Minister Kwesi Amoako-Attah, as government makes a major U-turn to reintroduce the levy only a year after it abolished it. When reintroduced, road users would have to pay more and collections will be done electronically. Here's the Roads Minister, Kwesi Amoako-Attah.
Certain highways, when built to the right specification, we will come with towing facilities. But those towing facilities, will be electronic towing facilities. It won't come like the form we used to have in the past, where people were in a queue for a very long time. A whole year, we were getting an average of 78 million, cedis. If you deduct salaries and whatever from it, how much is left? Depending upon the ground condition, that amount of money cannot even build 10 kilometers of road. Now saying, depending upon the ground condition of the road that you want to construct. If all of us had contributed to the e-levy, it would have brought in a lot of money to replace the original tolls. And we would have built more roads for ourselves. Tolls have not been cancelled or abolished. The law is still there. So if they have to be in the queue for 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, and you get there and you pay 50 pesos, Ghana was paying the lowest toll in the whole world. I challenge anybody who can tell me any country which was paying tolls lower than Ghana. We were paying the lowest toll in the whole world. Okay? Meanwhile, we want excellent, good roads in our country. And rightly so. If every Ghanaian, including you yourself, myself, yes, we want good things, we must be prepared to pay for. Tolls, if they should come back, it will come in a different form. We will no longer be paying the 50 pesos and the 1 cedis, and no, it will come. If you travel abroad, tolls, and many people travel abroad, okay? Tolls, very expensive, okay? Tolls are very expensive abroad. That is why, and that's how come they are able to build good roads.
Well, from roads, the big guns are slugging it out for who takes charge of running the National Democratic Congress going into the 2024 elections. Now, that contest will be decided on the 17th of December. But before that, party delegates will have to decide who will lead the charge in galvanizing the youth. So in barely 2 days, the party will meet to elect its national youth organizer. And the stakes are high for contestants in the battle. The incumbent, George Opariado, is facing a stiff contest. Samuel Mbura from the political desk throws some light on the man who is determined to see off his rivals and extend his tenure.
I picked the youth wing that was totally dead. Over 80 constituency branches were trained by George Opariado.
That is George Opariado, known as Pablo in the political circles. He is not only the incumbent, but one with years of grassroots political experience. He was once the youngest ever municipal chief executive for Ikuapim North in the Eastern region, appointed by the late John Evans Atami's regime in 2009 at the age of 27 years. He has tasted his fair share of political defeats, losing twice as a parliamentary candidate for the Okere constituency. In 2018, he tasted victory and became youth organizer for the NDC, promising a revolution in resources mobilization.
2018, maybe a national youth organizer on my own. The top pickups 5 at the NDC youth wing. I gave out motorbikes. I have been quiet because of certain things.
Today, Pablo believes the NDC is getting stronger under his watch.
Look at the 10 we have today. The most vibrant. Look at the NDC's performances in 2020 on those campuses.
He facing another contest this time is promising to make the youth wing even more attractive.
We are looking at making sure that we recruit a lot of more young people. We have laid down cogent measures, good strategies that are going to attract any more young people to the NDC.
This will be a tough contest. Project Demfi, his close contender in the last election, who is also a former youth organizer of the NDC in the Ashanti region, is back in the race again.
We have presented a very timid youth front, which is not good for us as an opposition party. The posture is not what Ghanaians want to see. Very weak. We need to change that face.
This time, he appears more prepared, to face the incumbent and has already started punching holes into some achievements of Pablo. He has, for instance, dismissed as untrue claims that he bought and distributed vehicles to all constituencies with his own resources. He said former President John Mahama funded it and wants him to stop peddling what he describes as lies to delegates.
I have decided not to speak, but don't resort to cheap propaganda and insults. And I do politics of conviction. I have served the NDC work.
This weekend, the delegates will decide who to believe.
Now, in our next story, indigents of Asante Mampong have cautioned the Minerals Commission against granting prospecting licenses to mining companies without recourse to the interest of affected communities. This follows the persistent issuance of prospecting licenses to gold mining companies at concessions in the Mampong traditional area. Now, the concerned citizens of Mampong against Galamsey and the local traditional council have vented their displeasure against the Minerals Commission to rope the community into what they describe as a Galamsey arena. There is more in this report.
Clad in black with red arm and headbands, the activists drawn from in and out of Asante Mampong emphasized on the ravaging impact of mining in most operational areas. Perturbed by the imminent threat to the 5 water sources in the area, the group questioned the mandate of the Minerals Commission in safeguarding mining communities.
One may ask why the citizens are against Galamsey.
Victor Wusu is lead convener.
The Minerals Commission is supposedly required to create a congenial atmosphere in which all stakeholders, and we say emphasis ours, all stakeholders work as partners in a safe environment to achieve sustainable development through mining. The big question is, did the Minerals Commission, in granting the minerals rights to prospective companies to mine in the Asante Mampong traditional area, engage the people as stakeholders in any form? Was there any stakeholder engagements or consultations? Did the Commission do any due diligence as to the effect of surface mining operations on rivers and water bodies in Asante Mampong? The careless abandon which the Minerals Commission grants mineral rights to prospectors without recourse to the interests of the communities, in our view, smacks of an irresponsible organization, battering the lives of people without shame or a feeling of guilt.
According to the group, the Minerals Commission in November 2022 issued a license to Active Target Minerals Resource, a gold mining company, to prospect lands and forest reserves in the area. This follows an initial opposition by the Mampong Hene, Dasibre Osebonsu II, to a similar offer to Arient's company in 2019. The license withdrawal of the latter came with the distillment of the Benim Hene. Nana Boachi Yadom is Jase Hene.
No, actually, Yenimsa Sembiada. I fed the Bayan said, Ebesan Babio, a Municipal Assembly, at the command Municipal Chief Executive said, Yeah, Baby,
we thought everything had returned to normal. Later, we saw a notice at the Municipal Assembly that they will be introducing mining at Benin. Minerals Commission has turned a blind eye to the negative consequences of mining. Asante Mampong, as a silver stool in the Asante Kingdom, serves as a major trading center to both native and foreign traders in the northern part of the region. Despite the dwindling economic situation in the area, traders here are in consent with the communal decision, but there are some who welcome responsible mining. It's a good initiative. Galamsey is destroying communities, but the youth here need jobs. If it's going to be responsible, they should introduce it. Communities are always involved in illegal mining, but they are still suffering. We agree with them if they are fighting it.
So mines for the
If it's going to be responsible, then the leaders should consider it because we need jobs. But if it's going to be legal, then they should reject it. Traditional leaders and residents of Asante Mampong are resolved in rejecting the harrowing impacts of mining on both economic and social activities. For JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
Now, rickety and poorly maintained vehicles on roads across the country remain a major nightmare for commuters. Despite efforts by the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, the Motor Transport and Traffic Department of the Ghana Police Service, and other stakeholders to curb the situation, Ghana's roads are still flooded with these vehicles causing fatalities. Fortunately, some computer science students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are using number plate recognition to determine the roadworthiness or otherwise of your vehicle. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has more on Tech Thursday.
And I'm Theophilus Bucci. And our project was to basically create a number plate recognition model which has the features of detecting number plates, recognizing the characters within the number plates, extracting its details, and cross-checking it across our database to verify the ownership details of vehicles. Our project is into two parts, which is image recognition and image detection also.
So our project is in two parts. We have the image detection and then the object recognition. The image detection part is where our model would take a reference image or video. So it scans from the image and then just confines everything to this number plate region. That's the region of interest. Anything else is irrelevant. So based on the number plates being detected, it will try and recognize the characters that are found inside the number plates we have here. So this is a sample extraction we have as shown here. So it's trying to extract the characters we have here, then it extracted it as AS538712.
And with across our database, it's able to verify with the extracted details given the authenticity of the number plate itself, cross-checking it with the owner's driver's license. It checks the vehicle's roadworthiness, and also if it's reported as a stolen vehicle, it's able to track its geolocation or send an SMS feature when it's reported or seen around.
When it extracts the character and then it references with our database, it will try and then check if the vehicle is roadworthy. So based on our database, what we use to check for roadworthiness is the insurance and if the driving license card has expired. That's what we use to check based on what we have done. So once it checks and if there is no insurance and the driving license card has expired, the ID of the driving license has expired, then that means that the vehicle is not roadworthy. So it will send a message to a target number. So let's say, for example, we have a target number, let's say a police separate number. Then it will send all those information to the police number that this particular vehicle, it will reference the particular vehicle and say that this vehicle is not roadworthy. So basically what our model does is it shows the number of objects being detected. That's the license plate being detected here. So and here it's showing only one. So total objects detected here is one. That is for the license plate. And over here it's showing the accuracy of the license plate being detected. And here it's showing a 94% accuracy that this here is a license plate. Then it shows the extracted characters on top here. So based on that extracted characters, in our console, it tries to log in the details of the owner. So this is the details of the owner. So license plate number, that is it. Then the owner, Kelvin Opoku Ajimai.
Up next, a South African company is sensitizing Africans to patronize African-made wine. As part of promoting African-branded products, Don Emilio, a Ghanaian-based company, has partnered with Wines of South Africa to promote African wine. The Director of Agricultural Economic Services in South Africa, Bongiswa Matoti, believes that African countries have the needed resources to dominate their market. There is more in this report.
Wine consumption in Africa has increased over the years, with most brands on the market imported from European countries. A Ghanaian-based wine company, Don Emilio, is ready to change the narrative as it partners with Wines of South Africa to promote African-made wine. According to the group, promoting African products will build local capacity to compete with on the world market. The Director of Agricultural Economic Services in South Africa says African countries are capable in bridging the gap.
We are actually wanting to promote our wines into the African continent. And by the way, you know, the Africans must know that there is actually one region in South Africa that is actually producing wines, and we're actually producing those wines for the continent. They must actually enjoy one of their own unique product that is actually made from the South African soil, and they must really enjoy. It's a unique wine. We've got actually diverse wines. They must actually, on top of that, come to South Africa and experience more wines. This is their product. They must actually make use of it.
Meanwhile, the representative of Wines of Africa, Bill Bejura, is cautioning people to drink responsibly as we enter the festive season.
Currently in Ghana, the wine industry is booming. The sales, the volume, the consumption is picking up. It's on the ascent since 2015. We have wine connoisseurs, wine consumers, and wine patriots in Ghana as well. We say patriots in terms of they patronize South African wines very religiously. So we do activations every year in Ghana. So in Ghana, we've gotten a loyal customer base, a consumer base that we're encouraging to drink responsibly and also drink South African wine.
The group is hoping to be the leading producer of wine globally. Prince Owusu-Ansah's report for Joy News.
And that's it for the news. Up next, we serve you the news review. Do stay. Thank you for staying with us. Time now for us to get into the news review, and we're joined by Kojo Poku, an energy analyst. He'll be sharing his thoughts with us shortly. There you are. I see you, Kojo. A very good morning to you.
How are you?
I am very well. How about you?
Oh, interesting. Today the response is better. Thank you.
Well, we can't come and key us. We have to make the most of the situation. So it is what it is. But you're looking very.
That's the Ghanaian spirit.
Yes, it is. You're looking very smart, very dapper with your tie and everything this morning. What's the occasion?
You, Ben, when I get the call that Ben wants me on the show, I need to go into my stuff and make sure I do the best for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing us the honors. So as always, I would like to pick your thoughts on a few issues before we dig into the papers. You've heard of the TUC and what they've been saying about the fact that they don't subscribe to the debt exchange. Some outfits have come out to say that this debt exchange thing, Charlie, it's fraught with so many problems. The budget has passed at least the initial hurdle. The minority in parliament is saying, look, as for the taxes and all of that, the e-levy, the VAT and all of that, they don't subscribe to it. What is your quick take on that matter?
Well, look, you cannot say you don't subscribe to something, but then pass it into law.
They're saying that, to be fair, they are saying that there are basics and there will be consequences if we don't approve the budget. You're fully aware of that.
That's fine.
So we are approving this, but when it comes to some components of it, we don't agree.
Well,
does that not make sense?
You cannot agree, but in principle, you have voted for it. So let's move on. The most important thing is that there's no point doing two sides of the coin. You don't try to be seen by the public that you are fighting with us, when in the chamber, you are actually approving the very thing that you say you don't agree. Okay? Yes, look, we've always said that the national good should come first, which is what they've done. Within the shortest possible time, before 31st December, we need to have a budget in place. Now, they've approved it. Let's move on. to come out and say that, no, I don't agree, but I've approved it. That's fine. You've done your work. Let's move on. With the haircuts and what's going on with the debt exchange,
right?
If you read the document from the Attorney General,
right,
it's very telling. So it tells you the thoughts that were going through the head of the Ministry of Finance and how they wanted to do this.
Right.
And the Attorney General, being an independent counsel to government, really gave them a very good opinion, which is the opinion held by many that, look, when a bond is bought or an agreement is made, you cannot unilaterally alterate or change the agreement. This goes to the heart of some of the things that Ministry of Finance has been trying to do for years.
Right.
You remember when the minister came to the floor of the House and said that all take and pay agreement was going to be changed to take or pay.
Take or pay.
It's going to be changed to take and pay.
Right.
Okay. Now, some of us came out and said that, I'm sorry, but you cannot do that. Okay, you cannot unilaterally come to the floor of Parliament and say that all take or pay agreements will be changed to take and pay.
Take and pay, right.
And for 4 years or 5 years down the line, they still not been able to do that. In the last budget, we were told that some agreements have been reached, but we are still yet to see the details of those agreements. Because when agreement is penned on, you need the other party to agree. And in this debt exchange, what I'm hearing is that you need 75% of all bondholders to agree. A minimum of 75% of all bondholders to agree. Okay?
Is that per entity or generally across the bonds landscape?
Okay, so in this case, if you realize the release said that individual bondholders and T-bill holders were excluded.
Right.
So that would go to say that if you're an individual entity and you hold a bond, you'll be excluded.
Exactly.
But what they tend to do is that they are now, all bondholders are bondholders, whether you exclude them or you don't exclude them. So you need 75%. If there is a particular bond that you want to now negotiate, you need a minimum of 75% of all those bondholders to agree.
Right.
Now, I don't see how you're going to get that. What the government is targeting is to wipe out our pension funds, the tier 2, tier 3, okay? And the, I'm sure Senate also is in there heavily, which is the tier 1 pension, which we all have. Then the banks, the institutional investors, which is the banks, instead of lending the money to me and you, were lazy in lending money to business for business to grow. They were just happy buying government bonds, okay? If it was you and I that they gave the money to, this thing would never happen. They would have grown the economy, business would have done well, and we would have had a growth in the business and industrial sector. Instead, they took the lazy approach and lent it to government by buying bonds because it was easy. Government was offering this juicy interest. Now that's the consequences. So it's unfortunate that we've come to this. If you look at what's happening in the banking sector, we are back to pre-2017 situation. I'm being told that 16 banks have asked for liquidity support. Okay, so it means that if you look at the Forex itself, the Forex situation, we have actually wiped out 50% of their liquidity. Okay, so the value of their money, 50% is being wiped out just by the exchange rates. So then you now go into the interest that they could have made on their principal to show up their capital, that is also being wiped out extensively. So we are in a very bad state, unfortunately.
Tell me, though, I mean, I'll get to the comments of John Kumar shortly. I want to tie it into something. But road tolls are also back. They're going to be back. And we're going to pay more, according to Kwesi Amoakwata, the sector minister. Some people have looked at it and said, we told you so. We told you it wasn't right to scrap this. You were raking it about 270,000 cedis per day. You took it off, and now you're going to force it down our throats again. It's also about the state of some of these toll booths. If you've gone round, you've seen them. Some of them are decrepit, so to speak. Some of them are in a sorry state. So if you remember on the Tema stretch, the one that was hit by a long vehicle and all of that, a lot of work must go into it. And now it's going to be electronic and all of that, which would also mean that some of our PWDs who had work would not be there. But this pirouette, this going back to what we had before, What does it say to you? Does it give a sense of direction, of clear purpose?
No, there's no direction. There's no leadership. I've always said that. Look, the conversation and the argument I had before that budget was read was that we're not going to scrap the toll, but we are going to introduce electronically. That's what I thought was going to happen, because the conversation then was not to scrap the toll, but to introduce electronic tax. Look, technology has advanced so much around the world that it doesn't cost you anything to introduce it in your country. Okay? If you go to Dubai, you go to the US, you go to a lot of countries, there is electronic tax where in Dubai especially, you think there are no tolls, right? You drive, and at every point in time, you have a sticker on your car that the infrared or whatever scans it, and then the toll is paid from the sticker that you have.
Right.
In the US, there are tolls, but then they have easy lanes, where if you want to buy a yearly pass, they are called e-passes, okay? When you buy the e-pass, you stick it on your windshield, then you go through the easy pass lane. Then when you go through, the infrared basically scans it, and the toll is paid electronically. If you want to go in a queue, then you can manually pay on those tolls. But the technology is abound. I didn't see the point in saying that we're no longer going to fix tolls. The most important thing, Ben, is that we have lost the concept of toll. Me and you talked about this the other time when we discussed Tema Motorway. The concept of toll was to collect that money to fix that particular road. The toll was not to be collected and put in a magnanimous account, which is the endless pit called the Consolidated Fund.
Right.
Because if you are talking about toll money, it's nothing as compared to national budget, but it's a lot of money compared to that particular road, its maintenance. So if you look at the state of the Tema Motorway today, if you are collecting, let's say, 1 city or even 2 cities from every car that goes on that road to fix the Tema Motorway, it wouldn't be in a state it's in. Okay? And that should apply to all tolls. In the 2022 budget, we had this new innovation of having to come up with certain PPP arrangement where certain road will be built purposely tolled to a certain amount. That concept is going on in India. Okay? Whether people are confident enough to bring their money into Ghana to spend billions on some of these things, that is something that we should explore. In 2007, I know a consortium that did an extensive work on the Kumasi-Accra highway. They were going to build a dual carriage Accra-Kumasi, did all the work, did everything that they need to do, and they were going to toll to recover their money. That's 2007. If we had built that road at that time, and the cost was about $850 million at the time.
Right.
Today, we would have had a dual carriage road Accra to Kumasi that probably would have paid itself off by now.
Right.
But we abandoned it halfway because there was a change of government in 2009. Okay? Look, it's unfortunate.
It's so many things we have to digest. But definitely, I want us to look at some matters related to the bonds. I'll get back to that later, some of what Dr. John Kuma has been sharing with us. But let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper now and get into it. When we're done, I'll bring in those outstanding matters. And the Daily Graphic this morning says, Graphic Access SME Fair today. There's also NAT GMA reject debt structuring, like I put to you. Pictured there, Thomas Musa, General Secretary of NAT, together with Dr. Frank Ankobia, GMA President. Both of them are rejecting debt restructuring. I'll tell you a bit about why. Don't cap Supreme Court judges, Chief Justice and Sophia Kufu proposed. Now, the Chief Justice, Kwesi Enin-Yeboah, and his predecessor, Sophia Kufu, have kicked against calls to cap the number of judges at the Supreme Court. In their view, the scope of the Supreme Court under the 1992 Constitution was too broad, making the apex court inundated with a workload of cases, which made it impossible to limit the total number of judges there. The two shared their thoughts on whether or not to cap the number of judges appointed to the Supreme Court at the Institute of Economic Affairs Stakeholder Engagement on Constitutional Review in Accra last Tuesday. That is one angle, and as you reflect on that, even before I get into the NAT GMA story, There are those who have also said, for example, Parliament, interviewed, so to speak, for lack of a better word, some nominees to the Supreme Court in recent times. And per the report that has emanated, 2 of them are not going to make it. 2 of them have been asked to step aside. Sometimes in some cases, because of overly political ties and all of that. But this whole bit about political appointments to the Supreme Court, yes, nominations coming in, the president putting these people forward, Parliament, vetting them, that's the proper word, and the whole bit about stacking the courts. How does it come to play in reflection of this, where they say, don't cap it. Let's just have as many as possible. Of course, we must have odd numbers on any case, but let's have as many as possible because of the workload. What do you think?
Well, I think we do a great disjustice to people who have done their trade or done their profession for so many years before they are called to the Supreme Court. Now, before somebody is called to the Supreme Court, I'm sure that person would have a certain caliber and a certain resume. They've practiced law, they've sat at the bench for so many years.
But you do know, just because this is my space, you do know that there are some who may not necessarily practice extensively. They may not even be justices at any level, not magistrate, not anything, and they could be nominated to the Supreme Court. You know that. And we have cases. We have cases.
But they would have to be lawyers.
Yes, they will have to be lawyers, I guess.
Exactly. So if he's a lawyer, he would have, I don't think a 2-year, 3-year, or even a 5-year law at the bar will be called to the Supreme Court. So if the person is a lawyer, he would have been a lawyer with a very great, extensive resume before you are called to the Supreme Court. The point I'm making is that there is a famous interview that was done by Justice Scalia in the U.S. And she was asked, why does government now appoint, and if you are appointed by a Democratic government or a Republican government, does that make you? And he said, no. Everybody has value. Everybody has values. Every party has values. So in Ghana, we don't really see direct take line between NDC and the MPP values. But if you use the U.S. situation, Republican values and the Democratic values are quite basically miles apart. So when people are electing judges, I think there are certain things that they want to take. Does that person fulfill all the criteria that I'm looking for? Now, when that appointment is done, for us to now say that because of their political lineage or the way they have ruled on certain cases, they don't qualify to sit at the bar, I think is disingenuous and not fair to the individual. Because look, law for me, I said that at the heart of the matter, the rules and all that governs it, it is the individual way of looking at things that basically runs supreme at the end of the day. So look, I would be surprised that the 2 don't make it, because there will be a voting at the plenary that if the committee does not pass you, you have to go to the plenary for the plenary to vote. And I will be surprised if the 2 don't make it. But if they don't, and there's a good reason why they don't, then the president should substitute them for somebody else. But we should not be looking at people through political lenses and saying that all their years of work means nothing just because that person tilts towards A or B, NDC or MPP. I think it's unfair to the individual and the profession that they practice. About the capping of the Supreme Court, look, the argument being put forward is that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I think that we should also now start looking at a situation where the Supreme Court starts rejecting certain applications that come to them within the shortest possible time. So yes, they are inundated with applications, they are inundated with a lot of cases, but I think that the minute the case comes in, they should be able to do a perusal of it and say, look, this is rejected or this will be looked at. I think that would help, because if we are now sitting on every application before it is rejected, because I think in the other jurisdiction that is done too. Some cases are not even heard by the Supreme Court, or not even, they take it in and then they reject it that, look, this is not a case that we think we will look at.
Right.
So I think some of those things can be done to basically ease the number of applications that go to the Supreme Court. But look, if the law says we can have a bit more. Ghanaians are a bit worried by the numbers because they are worried about the remuneration. They are worried about what it takes to keep up the numbers at the apex court. So that is where you need to drive the balance. The more means that we are getting more work, or the more means that we are spending more on the apex court. So we need to drive a balance between the two.
All right, let's get into that other story. And the Ghana National Association of Teachers and the Ghana Medical Association have rejected the domestic debt exchange program announced by the government. The two associations said the debt restructuring would have a negative impact on the pensions of their members and therefore urged the government to take a second look at the decision. Describing their positions as non-negotiable, note that, Kojo, non-negotiable, the two associations said failure by the government to back out of its position could lead to industrial action. And that's my problem, because already you have the National Union of Ghana Students, and though they are saying, look, we're already suffering at the tertiary level because of some of these industrial actions. Now you have the GMA and NAT coming out to say this and threatening that if you don't give us what we want, if you don't, stay away from these, this is what is going to happen next. Your take?
Well, for me, I think the whole act of what led us here is what we are all condemning. Okay, the overborrowing and what we borrowed and used the money for, and all those above that, some of us are saying, look, going forward, we need to have a new direction, because this is happening today. We had HIPIC in 2001. We had restructuring, various restructuring that was done by various governments, and still we are back here trying to restructure a loan. So we need to change course and change the way we borrow extensively and try to now generate more revenue. But let's look at the pension itself and whether if government does this, they will not be able to pay or people will lose their pension. I don't think that assertion is true. If government does this, it intends for the numbers I've seen is 167 billion Ghana cedis that will go off. Most of it would have been interest that would have earned. Okay, so bear in mind the principal that you invested is not being wiped out. Your principal is there. What the person is saying to you is that you came to me to invest 1 million cedis. I still have your 1 million cedis. Yes, as per the devaluation of our currency or the depreciation, let's use the word depreciation. As per the depreciation of our currency, that 1 million cedis is not worth any more than it's worth. But that doesn't also go to say that pensions has increased astronomically anyway. Anybody receiving a certain pension still gets that pension regardless of the depreciation of the city. So the 1 million cedis that the person invested with the government is still there. Government is saying that I will not pay you any interest on that 1 million next year. I will pay you only 5% the 2024 and 10% on 2025. It doesn't mean that we are going to lose our pensions. It means that the pension pot will not have as much as we thought it would have in the long run. So I don't think the argument that people are going to lose their pension and will not be able to pay pension is true. Because most people, by the time of retiring, there will be money there to pay your pension, because you either take a lump sum of a certain amount.
I don't think people are saying that the pension schemes will lose all their money and not be able to pay, but they are going to incur losses that will be transferred to those who hold the coupons. That is reality, isn't it?
No. The losses will be transferred to the coupon holders, but it will not be transferred to the pension holder. I don't think we're going to get a day that you go to collect your pension, they'll say, oh, take a 30% cut on your pension because government...
How is that going to factor in? Because, for example, Franklin Kujo, I saw him put up on, I believe it was Twitter, that already he had got a haircut on one investment or whatever he had got into of about 100,000 cedis.
Okay, so this is what's happening. And Ben, let's explain it perfectly. Look, people are going in to take their investment ahead of time. So in every investment, when you have an investment and it matures next year, if you decide to break the investment, there is a penalty.
Yeah, that I get.
Okay, so that is what I don't think that Franklin Kujo's his investment matured, and when he went in to get his investment that has matured, he lost 100 million out of it. I don't think that's what happened. He can clarify. But what I have heard and what I have seen is that people are going in to take their investment ahead of time. And if you're taking
right, and of course, if you do
that,
if whatever investment has not matured, then you would have to take.
You get a haircut. Yes, so that is for me what is happening. I don't think. And again, look, we stand to be corrected.
Right. So I get the point. I get the point you're making. But then, do you think that this situation is not being handled properly? Because yes, we know some people who are weighing their options and saying, wait, do I wait till the 2023, the 2037, and all of that, or should I just go now? Take a downgrade and take what is left of my money, what is left of my investment. Is the communication from government going well enough? Because you hear these things where people are rushing, panic, withdrawals.
But that's not fair, because if you read the communique says that T-bills are exempted.
Right.
Personal bond holders are exempted. So if you have a T-bill...
But how many personal bond holders are there? That's the question. Most people go through institutions.
But all these people that we hear talking are individuals. So clearly, it's neither here nor there. I mean, the document that we are all going by exempt every individual or T-bill holder. So if you are panicking to go and collect your bond, maybe you need the money for something. But if you're saying that you're going for your money ahead of time because of the upcoming debt restructuring, documents saying that you are not part of the debt restructuring. So why are you going ahead to take your money?
Okay.
That's the bit I'm saying that we need clarification from the individuals who are doing that.
All right. Let me quickly add this, maybe just because we're on that tangent already. Dr. John Kumah, Deputy Finance Minister, has said that we may have overborrowed as a country. We may have overborrowed. He told us. He's also said here that in respect of these bondholders who reject the program, that is the debt exchange program, they will have themselves to blame. A lot of people have not liked that rhetoric. In fact, this is what he said, quote, then you don't get the carrots, the benefits, the buffers that have been provided. Then you are on your own. It means that you are open to default in terms of the market, in terms of if the market is unable to redeem. He told my colleague Evans Mensah. And some people have said, look, this is not the kind of rhetoric. This isn't the way you should be sounding when you're dealing with people's money on which they didn't plan a haircut. Very quick reaction on that.
Well, unfortunate words from my brother Kumah. Look, you cannot default on people's bond. They'll sue you. And if you clearly read Attorney General's report or opinion, it says that the people you default on has a right to basically sue you for defaulting. So that is not the way. Look, if you're going to go to a table to negotiate with people, that is not the way to sound before you get to the table. Government is not the almighty in this. You went to somebody and took the person's money. So look, for me, it's unfortunate. But the bit about may have borrowed, look, I think Kumah
may have overborrowed. Overborrowed.
Well, what I'm saying, he's just being the politician and he sits at the Ministry of Finance, so he's using a window to sound in the middle a little bit. We have overborrowed. What is the may for? We have overborrowed. From 2012 to today, we have overborrowed.
Right.
So I don't see how anybody will use the word may. What is may for? Are we not seeing the numbers and seeing what is happening now? So look, it's unfortunate that we are trying to sound like, look, you don't have a choice. If the person doesn't agree and you default, they'll sue you.
Okay. All right, on the back page, Atlas Lions on the prowl in Qatar. Historic semis, I beg your pardon, beckons against Portugal. And of course, we know the heroics of goalkeeper Yassine Bonu, who, well, had 3 saves. One technically hitting the bar, and the other 2 he had to save, and Morocco threw against Spain. Very quickly, what do you think are the chances of the only African representative left in Qatar, that is Morocco? Did you watch them against Spain?
I did briefly. I think they have the support of the entire continent. We will be so happy they beat Portugal, because then we would have the first time, I think, an African country will be in the semifinals. Ghana had the chance to do that in 2010. We couldn't do it. And I think the Moroccans will have a chance to do that on Friday or I think Saturday. If they beat Portugal, it will be the first time an African country will be in the semifinals, and that will be a very good feat.
Are you tipping them to do that?
Yes, I really hope they do that, because, look, it's long overdue. Look,
okay.
Football is, we do the talk when we are getting to this tournament, but if you look at the 8 teams that are left, it's back to the usual suspects. Okay, the only ones that are probably not there is Germany, which normally would have been there. But if you look at Croatia, England, France, Argentina, Brazil. Those are the football nations that always get to these tournaments and these finals and semi-finals.
Right.
It would be good to have Morocco in the semi-finals. I think we are all rooting to them, and I wish they do well.
Well, with the reforms ongoing at FIFA in terms of the numbers, I think, I don't know whether it's the next World Cup, but whether the next or the one after that, the projection is that there will be over 40 countries participating instead of the 32, and that Africa would have more representation, increased to about 8, I guess. So we'll see how that pans out. The Ghanaian Times, at National Land Confab, President orders implementation of land law to deal with challenges with sales, a problem that we've had for a long time. And I have my own concerns about this whole situation, but it still is very pervasive. 2023 budget approval. Trust us to protect your interests. Minority reacts to public backlash. And people have said by approving the budget, look, they had shot themselves and the rest of us in the foot. Nat, 5 others kick against debt exchange program. We've already looked at that story. Fake army officer in police grips. Have you seen that story? The fake police officer. Maybe let me just give you some scope. The Ghana Armed Forces has arrested a civilian for posing as a senior military officer and trying to access a military installation inside Burma camp. The personnel also retrieved from the suspect, Rufai Abubakar, documents including several certificates and fake Ghana Armed Forces recruitment application summary reports bearing names of some other persons, military uniforms and accoutrements, and a toy pistol from his 2 residences at Ablekuma Fan Milk and Olebu. According to a statement issued by the Ghana Armed Forces in Accra yesterday, the suspect was dressed in a military camouflage uniform decorated with fake Lieutenant Colonel rank pegs and was proceeding to the Air Force base to book a flight to Tamale. I mean, the impunity, the bravado. What do you think?
Lieutenant Colonel, he didn't even go for a major.
No, he didn't even go for, I mean, straight up.
A Lieutenant Colonel, really? Well, it's crazy. My brother, look, we have a fundamental problem in this country. And the fundamental problem is there's no fear. There is no fear. Because for a civilian to wear a military uniform, rank himself Lieutenant Colonel, and we are condoning certain things, which is bad. Okay, I've seen videos of my own brother, Cheddar, wearing all these costumes in other jurisdictions. We shouldn't condone it. And he's in a picture with the president. And that is where it starts from. So for me, it's unfortunate. But there's a fundamental problem in this country, my brother. It's not a joke. Because if somebody can actually have the courage without fear to wear military uniform and give themselves Lieutenant Colonel and gets to the airport, my brother, we have a problem in this country. And we need to tackle it immediately. Because if not, it's just not. Look, let me tell you something.
Yes, on music.
No, but sure. Look. Let me get to the heart of it and tell you the psyche of the youth and people growing up in this country that they don't have any fear. Did you see the video of a young man just use the BMW to do a chichi at the airport interchange? Did you see that video?
Yeah, I think I did.
Exactly. That goes to tell you no fear. And it's dangerous, my brother. It's very, very dangerous.
Right.
The earlier we start putting the fear back into the authority and people have to fear institution and respect the institution, the better. It's unfortunate. Then let me go to this land guard issue. Look, for me, the issue of both implementing of land laws is to do with land guards. Okay? Again, another impunity of our system. Today, land guards run our land system. You can officially buy a land and the land guard will tell you wouldn't have access to that land and nobody will do anything to that person and you will not get access to that land because the land guards have police protecting them. The land guards have some instances military protecting them. The land guards have more power in this country than me and you, the citizens. So what is it that is happening? So are we surprised that somebody's wearing a fake uniform? No, my brother, I'm not surprised.
All right.
But it's a problem that we need to tackle.
On the back page, no red carpet treatment for Mbappe. Kyle Walker declares ahead of France clash, and he says he's going to make life as difficult as possible for the France forward who plays for Paris Saint-Germain. There's also Croatia ready for terrifying Brazil challenge. And Eto'o apologizes after fight with fan. A fan wanted to take a photo and all of that. But let's get into some other stories.
That person shouldn't go and embarrass himself with Mbappe. Trust me, if you enter my house and you have Mbappe fans in my house, they should not go and embarrass. Look,
oh, really? Kyle Walker, you think he's not going to be able to handle Mbappe?
He would embarrass himself.
Okay. Okay.
We'll watch. We'll come back next week, Ben. Me and you will talk about
this. Mbappe is the hottest on the planet right now, so I'll give him his props. Kyle Walker is talking now. We'll see whether he can walk his talk come the day of action. Let's get into the Daily Guide. We have just about 3 minutes, Kojo, so let's make the most of it. Mosquito, 2 others chase Ofosu Ampofo. That's with the Daily Guide. 2 Supreme Court nominees endorsed by Parliament. Of course, 2 others jettisoned for now. There's digitized land regime, Nanata Lands Commission. And there's that story about Bawumia being named among the 100 most influential Africans. Story has been making the rounds. It has to do with the digital drive and how he's been acknowledged for that. On the back page, Ronaldo is gone. Eric Ten Hag has said Manchester United are, quote, looking to the future following Cristiano Ronaldo's acrimonious departure from the club. The 37-year-old, though, said he had felt betrayed by the club for the way he was treated and added that he didn't respect Eric Ten Hag. You remember that conversation with Piers Morgan. But he's also had his woes in the World Cup where some seeming disrespect for his coach led him to be on the bench, to start from the bench in that last match. Eden Hazard, the Belgian player, retires from international football. And there's also police arrest 2 over Sterling home break-in. I'm talking about Raheem Sterling. Do you have any quick reactions, or should I wrap up with the last 3 papers?
Well, Ronaldo's issue is sad. I don't know why footballers do that. Look, you are a multi-millionaire, okay? Yes, you have the passion to play football. Either you just basically be humble and go in there and play the job you are employed to do, but you cannot carry the two, the tag of fame and the tag of money, and be arrogant. And that is where it's unfortunate. He's at that level where he feels that I'm zero, everything basically should go my way. But if that's the case, then leave the sport. Because if it doesn't matter how much money you have, if you're employed by somebody, then you have to basically kowtow and do what they tell you to do. I honestly think that Hazard is unfortunate. Look, I've always supported Belgium in the World Cup, and 2 World Cup, they couldn't do anything with all the squad they have. Very unfortunate.
Well, I concur with you. I would always put 0 over Messi. That is me, my opinion. I'm entitled to it. I think he's the best ever, but I think he needs a pinch more humility. I think sometimes he's just a little too hot-headed, and he needs some more humility because, like it or not, like you said, it's not about your money, it's not about your superstardom, it's not about your talent. At some point, Charlie, humility pays. Anyway, Business Finder, financial sector gets 15 billion Ghana cedis to address liquidity issues that may arise from debt exchange. Then there's the Chronicle saying Ghana must diversify from cocoa to agrochemicals and others. That's according to Alan. But I'll put the question back to the Minister for Industry. You are telling us this. It's something we've known practically all this while. Why are you having to tell us this? Why are you not doing it? There's also HIV infection hits rooftop in Bono region. Bullion van robbery suspects discharged. That's the Chronicle. I'll wrap with the Daily Dispatch. New African magazine names Presidents Kagame, Ruto, and Vip Bawumia among 100 most influential Africans. And Hannah-Bissue, Jifatega, and 14 other women contest NDC national positions. Quick reflections on any one or maximum 2 of these stories, and we can move on.
Well, I wish my sister Hannah-Bissue well in her run for the woman, the National Woman Organizer for the NDC. I wish Ofosu Ampofo and General Mosquito well in their fight for the chairmanship. Look, the issue with today, I'm going to stay.
So we have less than a minute, so just go for it.
I'm going to stay away from the Ministry of Trade conversation because the number of backlash and the bashing I get on my social media page when I talk about Ministry of Trade is too much.
Are you saying you're afraid?
I'm not afraid. I'm just tired. Look, my brother, Cocoa Board, right? We heard that Cocoa Board was going to do coffee. What happened? They made a big noise about Cocoa Board doing coffee. Okay? So look, rhetoric is not what runs a country. And that is why we are where we are today. Okay? You can come in and do all the talk, but if you do not do the work, the fundamentals will show you up. And that is where we are. The fundamentals is showing us up.
Okay. Kojo, we'll have to hang it here. But thank you so much for lighting up our Thursday morning. We're grateful to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ben.
Have a super day.
Have a nice day.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kojo Poku is an energy analyst. 2 birthdays we're going to have to bring you. Sairam Kawo is senior lecturer at the UCC School of Business. Today happens to be your birthday, Sairam. From us to you, we love you. Happy birthday and enjoy the day as much as is possible. Also, happy birthday to Mr. Frederick Osafo Ntim. Frederick Osafo Ntim, CEO of Phone Limited Paper House. CEO, Phone Limited Paper House. You are what? I like your alias, Joe Kriti. I hear that's what you're called. God bless your new age. It's from your daughter, Awo, and your sister-in-law, Baby. From them, they say, happy birthday and enjoy your day. We wish you same as well. On that note, let's get into sports. Not too much action to report, but we're gearing up for the quarters. What are your prospects? Sports up next.
Good morning and a warm welcome to sports here on the AM show. My name is Abigail Sanas. Well, we are down to the business end of the FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar with just 8 teams remaining. As we look ahead to the quarterfinals, let's take a look at the start so far of the tournament. And so this is what we are going to look back to. Okay, so we have just 1 hat-trick from Goncalo Ramos. And then we've scored 148 goals so far, a goal average of 2.64, and a braces, 16 braces so far in the games that have been played. And the overall record states that we have 16 penalties that have been awarded, and they've scored 11, with 5 being missed. And so the penalty kick success rate is 68.75%. And the overall record also shows that there's been 2 own goals. Nayaf Aged and Enzo Fernandez have scored 2 own goals so far. And then most goals scored by a team, that is 12 by England and Portugal. Fewest goals scored by a team is Belgium, Denmark, Qatar, Tunisia, and Wales. And we have the most goals conceded by a team, as many as 11, that's Costa Rica. And the fewest goals conceded by a team, that's just 1 goal by Morocco and Tunisia. So there's some individual records as well. Most goals scored by an individual. That's 5 goals by Kylian Mbappe for the France team. Most assists provided by individuals. We have 3 by Bruno Fernandes of Portugal and Harry Kane of the English team as well. We have most goals and assists produced by an individual, as many as 7 by France's own Kylian Mbappe. 5 goals with 2 assists. More individual records shows that most clean sheets are achieved by a goalkeeper, 3 Jordan Pickford of the English team as well. And oldest goal scorer, 39 years, 283 days, Pepe for Portugal against Switzerland. And the youngest goal scorer is 18 years, 109 days, Gavi for Spain against Costa Rica. So this is the attendance record. Ranked first is the attendance of that game between Argentina versus Mexico. As many as 88,966 people attended that game. Next is Portugal versus Uruguay. As many as 88,668 people were at the stadium to watch that game. Brazil versus Serbia also produced the third, that is 88,103. And the game between Argentina and Saudi Arabia, that famous win by Hervé Renard, recorded 88,012 people. Cameroon versus Brazil also produced 85,986 people attending to watch that game. And the lowest in attendance has been 39,089 with that game between Switzerland and Cameroon at the JoyNews Stadium on the 24th of November. In other stories, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has hailed the group stages of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar and touted it as the best in history. Infantino declared that the first World Cup held in the Middle East has been a major success owing to the number of surprising wins by small nations during the group stage of the tournament.
Indeed, and put very simply and very clearly, this has been the best group stage of a World Cup ever. So this is very promising for the remainder of the World Cup. But the matches have been of great quality in beautiful stadiums. We knew that already. However, as well, the public who was there was incredible. Over 51,000 on average. Record-breaking figures on TV. We are already at over 2 billion viewers, which is really incredible. 2.5 million people in the streets of Doha, and a few 100,000 every day in the stadiums, all together, cheering together, supporting their teams. Fantastic atmosphere, great goals, incredible excitement. Surprises, small teams beating big teams. Well, there are no more small teams and no more big teams. The level is very equal. For the first time as well, national teams from all continents going to the knockout phase. For the first time in history, this shows that football is really becoming truly global. Well, of course, we hope that the World Cup continues and concludes as it has started. Fantastic success. I'm sure that we will reach the 5 billion viewers around the world. When it comes to stadiums attendances, the stadiums are sold out, full practically in every match. The fan festival, the different fan zones are also very crowded with people celebrating and enjoying. At the end, you know, we simply want to give some joy and some smiles to people all over the world. That's what football is about. That's what the World Cup is about, and that's what should happen from now as well until the end. We have already seen some great action on the field, which finally is, you know, the most important part of what you do. Some of the biggest stars performing very well, but the memories of, I don't know, the Mexican fans or the American fans or the Saudi fans, not to speak about Argentina, Brazil, Iranians, everyone, the Moroccans who were really cheering their teams, the Tunisians. I mean, I can just name the Senegalese. I could name them all probably. Now we reach really the top competitive phase where, of course, the big stars, the big players, the big teams will make the difference on the pitch. So I hope, and I'm sure, we will see a fantastic conclusion of this World Cup.
Well, away from the World Cup, and clubs have started mid-season preparations ahead of the league resumptions across Europe. In Spain, Manchester United fell to a 4-2 defeat in a friendly with La Liga side, and despite coming back from 2 goals down to a temporary draw level. Also in Turkey, Napoli beat Antalyaspor in a 5-goal thriller. So we'll take you back to Qatar, where we give you the top 10 goals so far in the tournament. And my name is Abigail Sanasosu. Thank you very much for watching this morning.
Well, thank you for staying with us. We get into our big stories now, and I am in very good company even before we tell you what we're going to be doing. Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Looking sharp.
Thank you. Thank you.
As always.
As always. I'm trying to learn from you.
My pressure. My pressure.
I'm learning from you.
Well, how are you this morning?
I am doing great. How are you?
We did. Kojo Poku today, I told him I was doing very well. He said I should keep it that way. Usually I go like under the circumstances today. So I'm maintaining it like that. But we have quite an interesting bit. We've put out there, we've been interacting with people, and some of the comments.
Yeah, some of the comments that have been coming through. And Benjamin, it's just interesting that just around this time, and today's a Thursday, how about a throwback? Yesterday was...
So yesterday was the 7th?
Of December. And once you hear the 7th of December in Ghana, it sends a certain signal.
One thing comes to mind.
One thing comes to mind, which is elections. And we were looking back to 2 years ago from yesterday. It was really heated. I remember very well what the climate was like at that time. I mean, there was tension in the system. Will the Akufo-Addo government be the first to exit after one term? Were we going to see a change in the political dynamics when it came to elections? Well, it didn't happen. But people were looking back to that day and what influenced their decision, and whether or not they had the same opportunity today, whether they will make the same choices. And so today we've decided to assess, obviously with the help of Ghanaians, assess the first 2 years of the second term of President Akufo-Addo, and find out from you what your ratings of his performance will be.
Yeah, and I guess we would both have our ratings, but would leave it to the public, our audience, those who watch us, our viewers. So at least we have our own opinions, which maybe as we go along we'll share with you. But we also have been speaking to some residents in Kumasi. Here is what they think about this administration's leadership 2 years after the first term. So second term, 2 years on. What is their take?
In 2020, what has been the impact story so far? How do Ghanaians rate the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia-led administration after 730 days in office?
I rate this government by, say, 3/10 or 30/100. They are not performing. Previously, they were performing. When he came first, Ghanaians, we had hope that he was coming to do things as we expected. But unfortunately for us, things are not going as we were expecting this administration. And I count those who are not helping the current regime, this administration, to be the economic team.
I am unhappy about my vote outcome. I would certainly not vote again.
I'll give them 4.5 out of 10 because there's a certain things now that they are trying to organize themselves, put measures in place so that maybe for the next 2 years, then things will go better for us, especially the fuel prices.
2 years I am very unhappy. 2 years ago, I had given birth, but I took my baby along to go and vote. But now, times are hard. If things don't change, I am not voting again. After the difficulty in the last 2 years, times are really hard. The first year was okay, but this year in particular has been very difficult.
With the current ratings so far, Ghanaians are not happy with the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia-led administration after 2 years. Nana Boachidankwa-Yadom reporting for JoyNews.
So those are the views of some Ghanaians from the Ashanti region capital, Kumasi. I don't know what your views are, but later on the show, we will open the phone lines for you to share them with us. On Facebook as well, we've been sampling your thoughts. But Benjamin, it's interesting, the lady who talks about how she had just given birth,
Yeah.
took her child, and went to vote. They all did not indicate who they voted for, but clearly based
You
on...
can surmise.
You can, yes, you definitely can deduce from their commentary who they voted for. And I am worried particularly about those who say that we won't vote again, because that's another problem of the democracy when choices are being made and people are indifferent.
People become so inured to the process.
Exactly.
That they think, this is not really going to change anything for me. It's problematic.
And then we leave it to a few people to make the decisions for us.
Yeah.
And then when there are repercussions, we come complaining again. But let's get onto Facebook now and take your comments on what we've been asking, basically, 2 years on after Ghanaians went to the polls to re-elect the Akufo-Addo-led administration. A lot has happened. What do you want to see going forward? And it reminds me of that gentleman who called in yesterday to say, we know what our problems are, but what is the solution? What do we want to see going forward? And King Noah says, in Ghana, the only time you're remembered for your good deeds is when you are no more. And he's saying, read that again. Well, Evans Amankra says, God forgive me for voting for him. And Ebenezer says, well, by the end of 2024, the duopoly, it should have ruled 16 years. That's a phase that's both used for themselves and hanger-ons. I wish to see the new phase beginning 2025, where we've amended the constitution, which we can properly put the country on development footing. I don't care who wins, and you know why? If the rules change, the game will change.
Let me tell you something. For me, and maybe I speak for some people, I really don't care which party is in power. If you deliver what the people want, if you deliver what will make my life better me in terms of my human development, give me roads, give me the necessary facilities. And basically, look, I often say, and friends often tell me that the skills you have, linguistically and other things, you would thrive so much better in other countries. Why can't we do that right here? You get it? That is what people are clamoring for. And if you give us that here, if you gave me that, I really don't care who is in power. I would vote for that person. The problem is we vote for these people. They create, these impressions that they can. They build castles in the air. And castles in the air, no one can inhabit.
But he's raising a very important point about the Constitution there. And later in the show, we'll bring you details of a statement released by Occupy Ghana, focusing on the debt exchange program. And they mentioned things like that, the Article 71 issues and all that. And so for this gentleman, when the rules change, the game will change. It will compel people to do certain things that we want moving forward. Dramani says, all right, we'll skip that. And Yerio Fidelis Debang says, moving forward, this is what I want to see, 20 ministers of state.
And it's possible, if you follow PM Express yesterday, and we all know it, constitutionally, we can have 19 ministers when it comes to, how many do we have even when it comes to the regions?
275 presidential staffers, 1 per constituency, no ex gratia, they should be paid pensions. And in fact, let me reference the Occupy Ghana statement again. They actually say the president must pay taxes. And then Philip says, beginning next year, he should cancel the ex gratia for Article 71 orders who enjoy the best of life during their time in office.
Well, we'll shortly be joined by some others who will be sharing their thoughts with us. We have someone from the PNC joining the conversation.
Mr. Wengobit. Yes, Mr. Wengobit is also with the Exporters and Importers Association of Ghana. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Quickly, your ratings of the first 2 years of President Akufo-Addo's second term.
Well, good morning to you, and good morning to your viewers. I strongly believe, and let me say maybe, I know maybe you might come back to us for Christmas, but God has brought us to this far. We have to thank God. It's not easy. So let me say, Merry Christmas in advance to you and your team, and then to your listeners. and hope that God will take us to the end of December as well and to just see 2023. I must say, 2 years down the lane, since President took over again for 2021, sorry, 2020, it was 2021, yes, 2021, has been a very turbulent year. There has been so many challenges, crisis in terms of our currency, crisis in terms of our economy, crisis in terms of organized labor front, and the country has really gone through some kind of trauma, and I must say it has not been rosy as it was in 2020, 2017, all the way to 2020 that we went to the polls to re-elect him again. And it's all due to, I must say, I will point it directly that all boils down to the president himself for failing to listen to Ghanaians. When Ghanaians call on him to say, look, you cannot have the same team throughout 2017 to 2020, and at the end of the election, you still want to have the same team to end your 4 years. What for? To say they are the best people within your party. There are no other people, even when Ghanaians are saying, look, we need change. When even everybody, all indicators, all from academia, from the political, from a civil servant, from the cardinal Ghanaians, everybody is saying, look, there is a need for the driver to change the mate, or for the driver to change the passengers. Passenger that he's having in the bus is not helping him. Yet the president says that no, he sees as his daily occupation, and he monitors and he knows what they are doing, delivering, and he thinks that they are the best. For me, I strongly believe that wasn't the best response to have come from the gentleman of the land. And I used to see himself as an example. He was in government during President Kufuor era. He was responsible from Attorney General Department to Minister of Foreign Affairs. Not only him, many of his colleagues. Some were even asked to go, some were exited, and they brought in farm. So what is wrong? President Mills' government, we saw it. President Mahama government, we saw it. President Rawlings' government, we saw it. It's only his government that he wants to have ministers having the longest term in government, which have performed poorly and put all of us in this struggle. This recent budget or this recent cabinet retreat that he announces that there was going to be a haircut. The president came back and said, no, there was not going to be a haircut. You go to our banks and everybody goes for your investment and you are seeing it in reality. You come back to you're going to do debt restructuring or whatever. I mean, I will tell you, it has not been rosy, and the government knows that. When you go to the business community, which I lead, they will tell you how much losses they have made in terms of revenue. I'm not talking revenue, in terms of the identity sales or monthly sales, month by month. That has even led some people pulling out of the economy, and that's not good. That's not good. So I think the government 2 years hasn't been well. If you give me 1 to 5, I would say 3.
So you say on a scale
5?
of 1 to 5, you would say 3?
Yes.
Okay. So that's about what? So 1 to 5, where 1 is 20 points, that would be 60 over 100 that you're giving this administration. Right?
Even I'm being lenient to the government to say 60%.
Well, 3 out of 5 is 60%.
It has not crossed 60. I have been too lenient to the government. I'm telling you, that's a part of the matter.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't
so in reality,
in reality, is worse than that.
Not very. It will be probably I'll give them 2.5.
Right. So the question we've put on our Facebook page is for people to share with us what they think we can do differently. We know the state of our economy. We know the decisions that are being made, the steps that are being taken to put us back on a right course. Some have called this a bitter pill to swallow, but they say we have no alternative. What do you want to see going forward?
We cannot say we have no alternative. The government must downsize the government itself. Its appointees must be reduced. That's the fact. I think I heard former President Kufuor saying that there's a need for time to be taken of the past of Council of Members. They should go. You understand? You have technical advisors, you have senior advisors to the President. What is Council of State? members. So there are certain things that the president, and they are all expended, they are all drawing from the consolidated fund. And so, if you ask me, this decision that the government is taking just to put unnecessary burden on the ordinary citizenry, while your government is still bloated, while your government, your appointees are still driving the V8 that they said you were going to. So have you seen them pack V8? Have you seen them pack V8? Are people still not driving V8? Have we seen that 50% cut that the government said they were going to cut from government appointee? Where is that money? How much has it realized? What are they used it for? You get it. They said they were going to cut down coupon and that thing. Are they sure? If you put to the minister, or if the ministers come to official duty, their English still not on. Are they buying? I want to say, look, from today, look at the issues on hand. If you're a minister, if you're a government appointee, you are receiving a salary, you are receiving so much. Buy fuel by yourself. Government transfer fuel allowance to ministers or appointees. Do you see that? We are downsizing the appointees at the presidency. Have they downsized it? So the government cannot say I'm failing it when he's not failing it. That cannot be palpable true. I think I don't know the adjectives that I will use this morning.
All right, I have a brief question for you, Samson. So
yes,
based on your assessment, 2.5 out of 5 is 50%, right? And you have given your assessment when it comes to your industry and business in general. We put out a question there that 2 years on, how are people reflecting on voting for this administration? I'm going to push you to the wall. If we were to go to the polls today, would you vote to retain this administration?
I completely realize these people have to vote.
Pardon me?
What have they done that to them to take it again?
Samson, we're losing you. We can't hear you.
I'm saying that if you go to polls today, I'm not quite sure that we will have to retain this government again.
And I ask that from an interesting perspective because I know, yes, you're a member of the PNC and that some of you are trying to put yourselves together, the CPP, PNC and all of that, to come together. But it still remains that, like most Ghanaians will say, you are not that force to reckon with. So I don't know whether you wouldn't want to.
Oh, I must say that there is a challenge in my party. Top hierarchy are not in good terms. That has led us to where we are. When we're supposed to rather be united and rather make the party very attractive, so that many people, including your good self, join the party. We kept on having skirmishes. And I always say that with living in the glass house, you are not supposed to stone it. If you stone a stone, it's going to break the glasses. So, but I know definitely with EC wanting my party to patch up their differences, or else EC will not partake in any exercise with us, not engage us, should be enough for the party hierarchy. We cannot put our selfish interest above the party. I said it somewhere. Without the PNC, maybe some of us wouldn't have gone to where we are today. It is the same PNC that people think that is not attractive. That some of us kept on holding it, and it has got us where we are. In 2008, I'm not sure you know me, but 2008, I was contesting PNC as a parliamentary candidate in Ashama. And that has put the confidence level to me. And that has made me be a public speaker. And so many of them, Bernard Mona and others are all, my brother Atiku used to be there and no more with, he's no more with us again. I will send Emmanuel Wilson and others that you know them, Isaac, and many of them, Greta Clark, Chairman Bala, Madam Janet Nabla, many of them that we can hear of them, their voices today. Through PS, so it's a party that you cannot just, if they used to talk about third party in this country, it's PNC, and we cannot just list the name like that. So for me, I know that, yes, if they will be full vote today and MP will not be in government, then which party? Should it be the PNC? I will say yes. But you will tell me that, but are you guys ready for power? Because you are PNC yourself, we are fighting among ourselves. But I know one day the devil will be a liar. And TNC will be reunited. That's what I look forward to see.
Right. Finally, from me, on the bit of the debt exchange program, we've heard from many organizations and associations. Does the Importers and Exporters Association have a position on this matter, and do you mind sharing with us?
About concerning electricity?
No, the debt exchange program, our current economic situation, and the program that government is hoping to use to get us out of the woods.
Well, the minister did this or made this public statement without engaging stakeholders. I'm sure you heard other groups are all anger. I think TUC and others, GMA, Ghana Medical Association, and others are all, and others, other interested groups, civil societies. And of course, the Important Exporters Association cannot overrule out. But the point is, why would we want to do such a public policy or take such a public decision without engaging stakeholders? You don't announce policy before you come to engage stakeholders. In this country, that is what, since my 7 or 8 years in 2014, I don't know, is it 8 years or so, or is it almost 8 years or so, in advocacy, I must say that the challenges or the difficulties that I encounter in all institutions is when they will call you and you come and say, look, we have the law. We have this law and we want to implement and we are engaging you. But in other jurisdictions, the best practice is engage your stakeholders, take their advice, then you formulate it into a policy. At implementation level, you will see just you reduce the resistance, isn't it? But in this country, you just sleep and wake up, and an agency or separate ministries will say, this is our policy, and we want to implement it. Come for engagement. If you go there and say, no, you should have done A, B, C, D, they think that you are antagonist government. That has been one of the challenges that I have since I came to advocacy in 2014 till date, my dear sister. And so I would tell you that who will be happy? Are you happy yourself? And you think importers should be happy? Are you happy? You and my brother are Akakpo. Are you happy? Are you? My sister, are you there?
Are you awaiting a response from us, Mr.
Yes, of course, we are having a very
well, we've had our own concerns, which we've espoused here, time without number.
Exactly. So everybody is having a concern that this is not a healthy. Ghanaians were not consulted. This is just one person decision, and you see that is one of the reasons why the over 80 MPs in Parliament said they didn't like Ken Ofori-Atta. He should go. You see, he does not respect anybody, even including the office of the vice president. We are getting information that he does things without even the vice president. And you heard Akanto Japan saying it, that how can he be a vice president and the finance minister is bullying him? It's not coming from Aringo's mouth. We saw what the MP, when the MPs take.
Well, some of these comments we have to take with a bit of a.
The minister ran to go and pay district common fund. Are you aware? He went to pay MP's common fund. Are you aware? Where was the money? Are you there?
We're here. We're listening to you, sir.
Yes, the finance minister, when the people take a coup against him in Parliament, that they walk away from his budget, and they tell the issue, the reason. They break this man. We were having district assemblies and MPs claim that their common fund hasn't come. They break the man when he had to go and pay. So those one were the what were you waiting? Even we are owing at 2021. They were still owing some district common fund. But he was able to go and play the money. You see, this is the minister that says that we still have the money. But suddenly he ended up going to pay money. So I guess just yesterday, I think SIC, I don't know if you read business news yesterday, SIC is saying that transit cargo has dropped by 23 or 20-something%. I don't know if the SIC is state insurance company, which you know that every time the transit cargo goes, the insurance, you must take insurance cover against damages and loss or accident. You understand? So they use that policy was given to SIC solely. So all the transit cargo has dropped, and that's what they were accounting their revenue for the year. When they've been having policy, the other seeds grow up, and rather it is dwindling. What is the reason? Cargo has diverted to Africa Coast and Togo. Africa Coast has put up one of the new modern ports today. And their cost of doing business is very easy as compared to our ports. So that's you see that even the state company is also complaining. So, my brother, if you ask me, I will tell you that the business community are not also enthused with whatever policy redirecting, policy reshaping, policy I don't even know the term that's used on it, restructuring or whatever. I can say this policy is dead on arrival. Already Ghanaians have made up their mind. Look, there's panic withdrawals all over. And people are accounting to how much I invest, how much I win, how much they are telling me that I'm getting year to market date or market year date or whatever. You will see your actual investment. They will say you cannot, if you want to surrender today, you will not get so and so amount. These are real. So are you telling me how would the president come to life to be? Or the whole Ghana? How would the president say A today, tomorrow come back say B? Then they break the C. How?
Mr. Wingobit, the president? Right. We're immensely grateful for your thoughts, which you've shared with us this morning.
But you didn't answer me your question. The question I also asked.
Which one was that?
I asked you, how are you also feeling? Are you people also happy with?
We're feeling the same pinch. We're feeling the same pinch, Mr. Wingobit, that every other Ghanaian is feeling. We're not exempt. We're feeling the same pinch.
You didn't share your experience with me. You were asking me to share my.
Mr. Wingobit, we asked the questions here. That's our job, and you give us the answers. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for
Samson Asaki Wingobit is a member of the PNC and executive secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association. Benjamin, so the big question, which would like to take your response to later on the show, is what to do moving forward. And talking about that, in a statement released by Occupy Ghana yesterday, they talk about the current situation we are in, the debt exchange program, and they offered 10 recommendations to government. So we'll delve into those recommendations shortly. But before that, in setting the tone for those recommendations, they made a very interesting observation that I would like to read out. So they say there is simply no way to understate the terrible consequences that this state of affairs has caused and will cause to Ghanaians. That is why we believe, we Occupy Ghana here, that any offer to the citizens who are already hit with the multiple effects of inflation and cedi depression to essentially bail the government out of its self-afflicted disaster must come with an acceptance of failures and a firm commitment to do better. So let me bring you details, more details of that statement by Occupy Ghana. Well, so they have two broad comments on the domestic debt restructuring. The first is that government has no power under the law and the constitution to unilaterally impose fresh terms on portfolio investors' negotiations, and the mutual consent of all parties will be required. Now, two, they say the millions of Ghanaians whose funds, pensions or otherwise have been invested by institutional fund managers in government securities will be the ultimate losers in this new offer. The fund managers will simply pass the cuts on to their clients and customers. And this is in response to the concerns about, if you say that individual bondholders will not be affected, how many people can directly...
How many are individuals who are even bondholders? That's the whole point.
Exactly. So let's move on to the recommendations that they offer. The first one is that government should reduce the number of appointees by at least 50%. And they say this can be achieved by, Benjamin, again, consolidating several ministries and slashing the number of political appointees, such as all deputies and the like, and entrusting public servant technocrats with the responsibility of supporting substantive heads. They also believe this will send a powerful message in these tough and painful times that government is serious about its commitment. Number two, Benjamin, which is a very interesting one, about the president paying taxes. They're saying that, well, they admit that the actual savings of this might not be much, but it is hugely significant and symbolic. The third recommendation from Occupy Ghana is that government should rationalize the so-called Article 71 benefits, eradicate the multiple claims of ex gratia, and the false scheme by which successive governments deliberately delayed the setting up of the Emoluments Committee till the end of their terms. They actually say that this government should set up the committee now. It is a demand.
And that delay is in fact intentional. And then you would see, Article 71 office holders walking away with all kinds of gargantuan, packages. Why don't they do those things now rather than wait for later? And that is a big problem, something that we do indeed have to address as a people.
Well, let's see what the fourth recommendation is. Intensify and institutionalize GRA's invigilation activities. The legal sanctions for underreporting and tax evasion must be drastically applied. The fifth point is to explain the source of funding of the proposed Financial Stability Fund, FSF. And Benjamin, that is another big one, because on the front page of the Business Finder today, we see it's the headline story. Financial sector gets 15 billion cedis for the FSF. So the question is, where is the money coming from? So we'll quickly wrap up with the sixth one. They also talk about pursuing the Auditor General's disallowances and surcharge. They talk about ending galamsey, which is the 8th. The 9th is slash all non-critical government expenditure. They talk about the National Cathedral, suspension of all fees and allowances paid to persons appointed by the government to serve on various boards. And the last one is to rationalize the President's flagship programs. This includes a free SHS scheme. Every Ghanaian who can pay fees should pay. Limits the scheme to only those who can prove that they are not capable of paying fees. And in conclusion, they say a government that is pleading with Ghanaians to bail it out of a self-afflicted disaster must bear fruits worthy of repentance. They're also asking that all tax exemptions, especially those granted to incomes and gains from portfolio investments, should be revised. Well, on this point, let's bring in Bernard Mona, who is also with the PNC and has also been quite vocal about his thoughts on this government and its performance. So, Mr. Mona, we just highlighted the Occupy Ghana's statement to government on the debt restructuring program. Mr. Mona is also with Arise Ghana, and they end by saying that government should admit that this is self-afflicted and must bear the fruits worthy of repentance. Have you seen enough of that? Hello, Mr. Mona.
And to your many viewers, I had to do this interview. First, it's commendable that Occupy Ghana has taken an initiative to tell the government on what they need to do in order to bring about a reprieve to the people of Ghana. It is obvious that President Akufo-Addo, surrounded by ministers who have failed, yet he described the failure of these ministers as excellent performance, have run down the economy. In running down the economy, they have not accepted blame for running down the economy. And I think that that is where Occupy Ghana is coming from, indicating that they must show repentance. You need to accept responsibility for running us a ditch. When you accept responsibility, apologize to the people for misleading us. Then you can invite the people to join in finding a solution to the problems that you have created. Where government, in attacking anybody that says that the government is not doing well, then you cannot somersault and say that the same people that you are attacking and repelling should be the same people to help you to find solution to the problems that were avoidable, because everything that has happened to us today, President Akufo-Addo was informed that taking those steps will lead us into this graveyard. He did not listen. When he came and Ken Ofori-Atta started borrowing, going into the bond markets, every one of us, from academia to civil society office to the media and to political parties, we warned on the dire consequences of running an economy based on yearly administration bonds. They did not listen. President Akufo-Addo went further to say his ministers were performing outstandingly. And that made us to feel very sad, because when your ministers have failed and your measure is that they have performed outstandingly, it means that you yourself, you are a bundle of failure. See, as we stand now, the same Minister for Finance, who prior to going to IMF was shouting at the rooftop that no matter what anybody does, we will not go to the IMF, we are proud people, we are a shining star of Africa. After President Akufo-Addo compelled the going of IMF, the same president says that this man, who does not believe in the efficacy of an IMF solution, should be the one to go and lead IMF negotiations. The IMF have branch. They have their offices here. They have captured everything finance minister have said, including running them down. How do you think that the same institution will be willing to work with somebody who has run them down?
Right.
Aside that, see, nothing has worked. You have a minister for Agri who has become Bodiera, selling Bodier at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. This is a marked departure of running policies that will lead to food surpluses that will eventually lead to the running down of prices. If you have failed to ensure food surpluses and you are engaged in selling perishables at the Ministry of Agri, carrying plantain and yam, which are, by the way, perishable commodities, at this particular time of harvest, will tell you that, look, your Minister for Agri has lost the script. And it is important that President Akufo-Addo should look at this. These are the reasons for which we think that the president is not taking the people of Ghana seriously. At the time that businesses are collapsing, including yours, the president who opposed the value-added tax when he was in opposition and led people to go and lose their lives, today has the luxury of increasing the rate at which VAT is taxed.
Well, some interesting thoughts. Bernard, please hold for us, Mr. Mona. He, of course, is with Arise Ghana. Let's also bring in Martin Kpebu, also an advocate on some of these national matters, and he's a lawyer as well. Mr. Kpebu, a very good morning to you, sir. Hello, Mr. Kpebu.
Yes, hello.
Benjamin here. A very good morning to you.
Yes, morning, Mr. Akakpo. Yes, sir.
Great. So just reflecting on, we're contemplating 2 years of the Akufo-Addo administration in the second term. And we've been, asking people what their thinking is on where the country is headed. But I'd like to find out from you, based on what Occupy Ghana has put out in recent times in terms of their assessment of the situation. Two things. They say Ghana has become broke under this administration, and that's because of this administration's own failures. In fact, in recent times, Dr. John Kuma, a deputy minister of finance, admitted saying that this administration may have overborrowed. There's also a second point that Occupy Ghana makes in respect of the bondholders, making the point that these haircuts, you can talk about individuals. How many individuals are there? Most of them are with institutions, and these are going to affect pensions and other things. There are those who say that it will not necessarily affect the pensioners and all of that. It will only affect the institutions who carry the coupons. What is your assessment on this and generally, as far as this administration is concerned, these last 2 years?
Well, this administration has witnessed a monumental failure in terms of running the economy. Let's go back to basics. Candidate Akufo-Addo in 2016 came on the promise of transforming our Gettysburg economy, meaning that we're exporting too many raw materials, and so he would have the raw materials processed here, add value here, so that we could earn a lot more. And then also number two, we will do a lot more import substitution industry, meaning that we will then import less, because once we even import toothpaste, dog chains, and all those, we're going to do a lot of import substitution industry so that we will not import that much, so that our currency will be strengthened. In that regard, let's look at the four major items. One, you're looking at rice. Two, oil. Three, poultry and fish, you know. So he said we're going to do a lot of import substitution industry to stop these and many more. And with that, the currency was going to be strengthened. Then, so first 4 years, he couldn't achieve it. And in election 2020, he repeated it by saying that he will take steps to do all this so that he will boost the economy. That's a promise in 2020. So 2 years after 2020, since he has driven us into a deep crater, I mean, it's obvious. It goes without saying. And in law, we say rep is ETSA. He has failed abysmally. Failed, you know? And so it just tells you that, that's why I keep repeating that call that it's just about time he left. Yeah, Akufo-Addo just has to resign. There's no other option today. He's run out of ideas. He himself has checked out, and all he's doing is hanging on to slogans, which he doesn't intend to implement. Because you look at the budget that's just been read, I don't see anything in the budget that would help to this will significantly change the Gettysburg economy as he has promised. That's been the same mantra for 6 years. And going into the 7th year, the same mantra, sloganeering. He's not able to do anything that can impact the economy properly. You remember Mohammed's time, he said, look, any idiot can build roads. Yes, is that not what Mohammed said? Yes, any idiot, okay, can build roads. But if you build roads, you haven't done anything. No, you haven't. You have to look, apart from roads, what can you invest in that can change the economy? What can you invest in that can change the economy? And he rightly identified those products: rice, oil, chicken, fish. I say those ones, the cooking oil. Of course, we'll come to petrol. Petroleum is another major one, but we'll leave that out for now. You see, we are looking at the food items, even food alone. So 65 years after independence, we still can't see that. And yet we are talking plenty. So it just tells you that having had the economy for 6 years and he's not be able to do that, he's not going to be able to do that going into the future. Come to the cut that we are clamoring for. Look, when we say the cut, the VA, all right, the high number of ministers. In 2017, when he came, one of the first promises he made was that now to the ministry, you see V8 even 2022. Yeah, very luxurious. He bought V8 and bought V8 and bought V8 and made nonsense of everything he promised. You see, so it's just a recycling of his broken promises. Right. That makes it very nauseating. I think, you see.
So let me ask you then, at least, even as we look at the problems, we must proffer solutions. As part of those solutions, and I'll go back to what Occupy Ghana has put out in recent times, they have a 10-point plan. I'll walk you through 5 of them, and I guess you could address the other 5 maybe with Bernice. What then would be your reaction to these solutions? Do you think they are part of the solutions that we ought to, in the immediate term or in the short term, be looking at? First proposal, reduce the number of government appointees by at least 50%. It's been proven, per the Constitution, the dictates and all that, that we could have 19 ministers outside of those other appointees by the president. That's the first. The second one, let the president pay income taxes too. And that's just to, it's for the optics, so that the president too would feel the pinch of the ordinary Ghanaian. Third, rationalize the so-called Article 71 benefits, and they point to the fact that Ghana needs to end the 3-decade-old grand conspiracy among the political class that milks Ghana under the false argument that Article 71 authorizes so-called ex gratia payments. 4, revise all tax exemptions, especially those granted to incomes and gains from portfolio investments. And 5, intensify and institutionalize GRA's invigilation activities. What do you make of these first 5 proposals, from Article 71 to the president paying income tax, to the reduction of government appointees, to rationalizing Article 71 and all that? What is your take?
Mr. Akakpo, they are on point. I'll go with all of them. And indeed, these are not new. These are debates that we've had. These proposals have been there for decades. Actually, they are not new. Even before this government is so too far, some of them were there. This reduction of ministers. So as far as I can remember, when Kufuor was campaigning to come into office, that was one of the major things to do, over-bloated government. But when he checked the archives, when he came in, he later said, oh, he didn't know it was that difficult. So I think he kept his ministers around 8 or so. So there's always been the clamor by Ghanaians that the governments are over-bloated. Okay? Yes. So this is about time. Now that we've been led into it, I don't think we can afford to delay that any further. So this is the time to cut down to about 50-60, right? Yeah, so I'll go with that. Then you talk about the president paying income tax. That's also on. It's only that it doesn't go far enough. Look, we did the president too much. Yes, he sits on too much fat from the public pay. We pay for everything. We have to cut down. We have to live within the salary we live in. So the things we buy, the beddings, the food, everything, we have to cut that. When you come into office as president, also learn to live within your salary. So the paying income tax doesn't go far enough. We have to cut down on the things we buy for the president. Okay, everything in his house we pay for. We have to cut that, right? In addition, we have to go into Article 57 when it comes to not immediately now, but the constitutional review is something that is fast, coming up as one of the major things that any new government has to do. So Article 57 Clause 5, the thing about immunity of the president, okay, we'll remove it. So that when a president is in office and he's taking bad decisions, when he leaves office and we think they are criminal in nature, the president can be prosecuted. This current situation where we say anything done by the president in his official capacity is immune. It's not helping us. You see now, the president has succeeded in enriching his family. He has become very rich through allowing Kenoforiata to use data banks in the bond pitches, right, and resale to the public, the primary dealership and bond market specialists. They see that the president has had a very useful tool. Today, as we speak, Ghana is in trouble. We are debt-ridden. And he and Kenoforiata have made their families very rich, super rich. They are very comfortable today. And the rest of us are gnashing our teeth. Why shouldn't he look into it? When he leaves office, that President Kufuor will be prosecuted for this rape of the public purse through data banks. Why shouldn't Kufuor be prosecuted? So that is one area we should be looking at. So the other ones you've mentioned, they are also all the same. They are all on. We need to cut down. We need to cut down. We have an over-bloated government. Look, go to the presidency. They are 995 at the office of the presidency. Some are presidential staffers, etc. 995. That's 1,000. We should cut down. We should cut down. We don't have an option. Okay? Yes. So that is the way to go, Mr. Akakpo.
Right. Lawyer Akakpo, Bernice here. We received a suggestion from one of our followers on Facebook. He believes that there's just so much solution being preferred, but he thinks the greatest way to solve our problem is to focus on the Constitution. He believes when the rules change, the game will change. Should we begin to, even though it's a long-term process, getting our Constitution reformed and all, but do you agree with him? Should we focus our energies there instead?
Bernice, you've answered it. That yes, well, maybe not long term, medium term, because it's 2 years at most, and then that if Kufuor doesn't leave by the end of this month, 2 years at most, we will have the constitutional review started in earnest. So maybe medium term and not long term. So we cannot channel all our energies into race right now. We have to be eclectic. So we channel some of the energy into constitutional review and channel something into the immediate one. Today, by close of day, Akufo-Addo can resign, Bawumia can go, Ofori-Atta can go. If only Ghanaians want to do the right thing, we need to come out, ratchet up the noise. The call for them to go. We have to ratchet it up. Maybe, Bernice, you guys shouldn't also close by, is it maybe in the next 1 hour or 2? No, you should have a full-day program. Go out. Get more vox pop. Get more citizens to talk, right? Give them the microphone. I'm sure if we were to do that for 2-3 days, Akufo-Addo will flee. When he sees the numbers that every citizen is angry, he will have no option but to go. I think we are pampering him too much. Yes, we are pampering him too much. We can take such abysmal performance and he's still there sloganeering, and we are just, we talk in our corners, we are angry in our corners, but we can't channel it publicly. You see? So you guys have to find an innovative way. As I said, there are a lot of people angry in the streets there. Increase the airtime that you give those people. Let them talk all day. I'm sure in 3 days' time, Akufo-Addo will step down. Now, if it's not stepping down, the other thing is like what it's been proposed by Occupy Ghana, and which I've said they are not new. We've all contributed to this over decades. These proposals have been in the system. Some have been dating back to as soon as the Constitution was set. So some are told that 25 to 30 years old. Some of the suggestions, like I told you that before, said we couldn't reduce the number, right, beyond a certain level because he didn't know it was that difficult. But as I've said, now that Akufo-Addo and Bawumia have led us into this stage, this is the time to take the bull by the horns. We can't afford to delay the tax any further. We can't. So constitutional review, yes, we are pursuing it, but also in the most immediate one, that is to say, this trio, Bawumia, Akufo-Addo, Ofori-Atta, must go.
Right.
Nana, must go.
Let's touch on a few other recommendations by Occupy Ghana. The issue of pursuing the Auditor General's disallowances and surcharges. We've discussed that a lot with you quite recently, we did. But let's now focus on the proposed Ghana Financial Stability Fund. They're saying that they want the source explained. Now, as of now, we've just been told that about 15 billion cedis in the fund has been supported by development partners. We've received that much support from development partners. We don't know who these partners are. And this is just to help address liquidity issues that may arise from the debt exchange. Are you concerned that we may hear other issues of possible corruption and other related issues relating to this particular debt exchange program, I beg your pardon, and the support we are receiving if we don't have transparency there?
Oh, definitely, Bernice. As long as you don't get transparency, then there will be some more reasons. I mean, I'm not the one saying it. That's always been the suggestion, right? That's why it's commonly said that sunshine is the best disinfectant, right? Yes. So we have to get more transparency. And this morning, one of your colleagues, Raymond Akpa, mentioned it on the Super Money show. We need more transparency in that area. You need transparency. Yes, it's not negotiable. So very soon they have to lay bare all the details of who brought what and what are the terms. Yes. And even if it's from donor partners, so do we know, are they gifts? If some are loans, have they been to Parliament, etc.? So we need more information, right? And don't forget the COVID fund. You see currently the Auditor General, is that what you even refer to? It's auditing the COVID funds because of the issues that were raised, because we couldn't account for the funds properly. Yes, so that should tell you that where there is no transparency, surely a very conducive atmosphere is created for the public officers to be able to help themselves to the funds. So by all means, we have to pursue transparency to the hill.
So for you, beyond the resignation of the president, his vice, and the finance minister, do you think that we are on the right trajectory with our debt exchange program and the possibility that we will receive the 3 billion that we are requesting from the IMF?
Not yet. We are not quite to see the proposal, the debt exchange. Yes, provided the government sits down to negotiate well with the pension fund. So in principle, it's one of the things we can do, except that the manner in which the proposals were announced obviously didn't go down well with the pension funds and the stakeholders. You've had at least 9, well, okay, let's leave out the minority, about 8 stakeholder institutions, NAD, the Health Workers Union, etc. There are about 8 of them. If you add the minority in parliament, 9 all have come out to speak vigorously, vociferously against the manner in which the proposals were brought up. So obviously, Akufo-Addo goofed once again. You see, they said the thing is voluntary, and yet they made it appear like, I mean, that is take it or leave it. So now they'll have to go to the negotiating table and negotiate something with this pension fund, right? Yes. So in principle, it's something that can be done, but we will give them some time to negotiate, and then when we see the final product, we'll see if it's viable or not.
Right. We appreciate your time here this morning. Mr. Akakpo is a lawyer, a very vocal one as such. We've seen him in recent times working with the Rise Ghana, leading demonstrations, and his call has been consistent. He's asking the president to resign, and his vice as well. So, Benjamin, I mean, we still have Mr. Mona on the line. He's also with Arise Ghana. So, Mr. Mona, let me just take your quick thoughts on how we can move forward. I think that the facts have been established. The difficulties are glaring. What do we do next?
Well, like I've already indicated, it takes first a true apology to the people of Ghana that we have messed up. We need your support and cooperation in order to overcome this. 2, particularly when they have been requesting for the alternative, particularly from the opposition. You describe the opposition, particularly its leader, as incompetent. So it beats the imagination that you are seeking alternative solution from something you describe as incompetent. And that is where the problem is. The third is to look at the proposal by the former Secretary General of the Christian Council, Reverend O.
Hello, Mr. Mona. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, we lost you, but we can hear you now. Please proceed.
So Reverend Opuni called that we should rally the nation in a fashion like the Senchi consensus that was done, so that every other Ghanaian, farmer, fisherman, petty trader, those who can contribute ideas can sit on a round table at a venue and put up proposals for the solutions that will liberate us of this place. But for the Minister for Finance, whose policies from day one has sunk us, to continue to be the same storehouse that will prefer solutions to the problems, means that we aren't coming out of this problem anytime soon. In 2023, there is a job freeze. In 2023, we are going to have increase in taxes. In 2023, the poor who were exempted from electronic transfers are now going to pay every penny on their little income. In 2023, there is going to be food shortages. And an angry man, a hungry man is an angry man. And when you are hungry, you know that democracy is not an option for you. So we are running deeply into crisis. If in the Republic of Germany, the military is unhappy and they are attempting to take over government, we should be the ones that should be terrified about this situation and to say that, look, the arrogance and pomposity of government and its communications must cease from now. We need sober minds to talk to the people because we are already frightened by the levels of vulgarity that is existing in this government. And then you have people who will come and tell you that if you are saying that President Akufo-Addo has failed, he's not doing well, you are either born of a village person or you are a wizard or a witch. Such utterances rather infuriates. Then when you have the president himself saying that those of us who are calling for a tinkering of his ministers and appointees, that we are either looking for jobs or we are against his government, such thinking does not elicit national cohesion and cooperation towards overcoming the challenges that we face. When you have a president or the vice president, when people are crying that we are hungry, then you go and tell the people in the Volta region that you brought about digital address system, you expect that the people should tolerate you and not hoot at you. So it is the kind of political communication that government is embarking on that is probably worsening the situation for all of us. And finally, in economics, speculation plays an important role as to whether an economy can be made or unmade. In this instance, the speculation is that Ken Ofori-Atta is a monumental disaster. The longer Ken Ofori-Atta continue to live or to stay in office, then the longer or the prolonged status of the economic crisis that we are going to have. Akufo-Addo must at a time sacrifice his brother, his financier, for the betterment of our nation and throw away family and friendship. That is the only way we can overcome the sordid economic situation we find ourselves today.
But I mean, we've been given reasons. I mean, when I say we've heard in the news, we've heard what the party thinks, what the president thinks about the removal of the finance minister from office. We haven't received an emphatic yes or no answer, at least. What the president said to the MPP MPs who were also making the demand was, let's allow him to present the budget, finish the IMF negotiations, then we can continue the conversation about whether he stays in office or not. Is that not a good point of compromise for you?
Take note and just go and just reflect on the information I'm giving you. Anytime President passes a vote of confidence in the finance minister, we see a depreciation, a massive depreciation in the city. We see that the exchange rate distortions reaches a different level. If the president doesn't even understand economics and the power of speculation, he should just reflect that when he went to Kumasi and said that Ken Ofori-Atta had performed excellently, within that, the next 2 weeks, the city was on a free fall. That should tell you how markets are responding to the fact that somebody who has failed is touted as an excellent performer. So no one needs to tell President Akufo-Addo that the constant justification for why Ken Ofori-Atta should continue to hold office is the reason for which our economy has reached such a banjast state. Then we are in big crisis. In fact, what I have said is that, look, when President Akufo-Addo describes failure as success, it means that the president himself is a failure.
Well, Bernard, thank you very much for joining us this morning with your thoughts. We're grateful that you could make the time, sir.
It's a delight to have been invited to the program.
Thank you. Let's now bring in Professor Kwabena Safo-Kantanka, who is with Odikro. You monitor the activities of Parliament, but also other engagements of a state. And for you, there seem to be rising calls for better from our government, especially 2 years on. It's been 2 years and a day to the day since we elected this or re-elected this administration into power. Let's start with your assessment over these last 2 years of the performance of the Akufo-Addo administration, Prof.
Well, thank you very much, Benjamin. And let me say good morning to both your listeners and viewers. Thank you very much. I'll look at it from two perspectives. And that is, I'll look at, for example, governance. And when I talk about governance, I'm looking at leadership. And I also look at infrastructure development. I will generally say that in terms of infrastructure development, as one moves around the country, we can see a lot of projects going on. We can see road projects, the rail sector, we can see a lot of improvement. You can see schools, health facilities being put up and being improved and all that. That is one side of it as a government. But having all these things alone would not necessarily be enough, because in politics, people look at a lot more other things. I'll cite Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, who says that politics is always about the future. And so very often, people are more likely to look at what is in there for them in the future. And this is where the issue of leadership becomes so very important. I use governance here in terms of leadership that is providing a kind of direction for others to follow. That's leading a group of people, which also means that if you are leading a group of people, then you must have the ability to listen to them, to inspire confidence in them by mostly listening to their suggestions, their plight, and responding to them as such. And maybe unfortunately, this is where I have a little bit of a problem. You know, for some time now, people, or within the second term that President Akakpo came to power, there have been a lot of calls for him to reshuffle his cabinet, his ministers, and that call hasn't been heeded. And this is where I think we have a problem. I personally have some kind of difficulty. Because you see, when you are leading a group of people and they express concern about the direction you are going, it is usually better to stand back, listen to them, and take action in terms of what they provide. Because usually, you know, in our local parlance, we will say that yes, he who is cutting the road doesn't know that it is crooked. You're cutting a path. Usually, you will not know whether part of the path you're cutting are crooked. It is those who are following you who will be able to determine whether your path is straight or not. So usually, it is better to always listen to those who are working with, those who are leading. And this is where I think the president has had some kind of difficulty. You know, if you have a government and your own MPs rise up against you in taking some decisions, when your 80 MPs, the majority of your own MPs are saying that let it go in a certain direction, and you are not heeding that piece of advice, it creates a lot of difficulty, and it kills confidence in the leadership that is being provided. And this is where we have had challenges. And the previous speaker who just left talked about speculation. You know, it led to a lot of speculation in terms of the future for us as a people, the future for us as a country. So it looks like if the president is not listening to his own people, then who else is he going to listen to? I wish that at least when the 80 MPs called for the president to remove the finance minister, to embark on some form of reshuffling, and of course we know that even a few days ago, the former president of the Republic, President John Akakpo, also under his voice, calling for the president to reshuffle his cabinet, saying that, well, just having people following you, that is, trusting them that they will do your work alone is not enough, but also looking at what they are doing and what they can do. And I think this is where the challenge is. So for me, within the second term of the president, the major difficulty has been the president's inability to do the reshuffle. You see, when he reshuffles, it brings in a lot of confidence. When people work in one place for a long time, fatigue can set in. And so when you do the reshuffle, you bring in new energy.
Right.
People come in with new
just to hold you,
a new energy, a new idea.
Prof,
and the followers, the people of Ghana will think that, yes, we want to solve the problem.
Right.
But when there are problems, we have had crisis, and we are trying to respond to the crisis. If we are using the same people under whose term or tenor we have had the crisis, the assumption will normally be that, well, do we really want to resolve or solve the problem, respond to the crisis? And if you bring in new faces, if you reshuffle and bring in new minds,
right,
then the followers psychologically will actually feel that we want to solve the problem. But when we continue to use the same people, it doesn't encourage confidence. It doesn't inspire the kind of confidence we want the people to have in the government. So I think that is the major issue that is affecting the current state of affairs in Ghana. That is the inability of us to have reshuffled our cabinet, reshuffled our ministers to bring in new minds and new people.
Right, Prof.
Prof, we're grateful that you shared these thoughts with us. But just a quick one, if you can give me some 30 seconds on this one. In recent times, we've heard former President Kufuor, who, interestingly, is celebrating his birthday today, also share his thoughts on government size and all of that. Why do you think, very briefly, that Akufo-Addo, our president, has been unwilling to reshuffle or to even sack some of these ministers? Why do you think? In some 30 seconds, if you can.
Well, I won't be able to say categorically why he is unwilling to reduce the size of government. What I can say is that they are advised by people like the former president, I wish him a happy birthday, President Kufuor, to advise that, well, maybe we need to have a second look at the size of our government and all that. It's very key. It is very important. What it also means is that, yes, we have had problems. If you look at the debt estate program that is going to be embarked on, it cuts into people's incomes and all that. And usually for people to support that kind of move, they will want to see that leadership is also taking some steps to cut down on expenditure and all that so that it can bring the people on board. And if that kind of call is not heeded, what it means is that, well, people resist. They attempt to restructure the system that will affect them and not leadership. So I think that it's a good call for people to say that we want the president to reduce the size of government. Of course, I think that for political divide, the opposition and the majority leader, of course, even 2 or so days ago, I heard the majority leader talking about a constitutional review to cap the number of ministers in this country. And that's lamenting that in the Fourth Republic, across all governments, we have had problems with the size of government. That should tell you that we all do agree that the size of government has been extremely large over the years, which means that listening to the call to reduce the number of ministers is a good call. And I think I will support that call, especially when we are dealing with a crisis that has led to us going to the IMF, a crisis that has led to what the new term in town, haircut on people's bonds and investments and all that. A call to reduce the size of government so as to reduce the spending on the part of the government is a good one, I think.
Okay. Prof, we're so grateful that you took the time to join us. We're really grateful. Professor Kwabena Safo-Kantanka is with Odikro. So interesting thoughts there that he's been sharing with us, Bernice. But time now for us to bring in some other people as well to share their thoughts.
Definitely. This time we're coming to you from the Market Circle in Takoradi. Samuel Kojo-Brace is there for us. He'll be interacting with some of you on your assessment of the Akufo-Addo-led administration's first 2 years of their second term. Kojo, how's Market Circle?
Market cycle is doing so well. I mean, trading activities are still in full force here. But I want to show you something. What you see on your screens now is the construction of the old market circle. That's where I am now. Now, because of this construction, that center where the people were, they have to be relocated to another place. But still, trading activities do happen here. So I'm here to engage some Ghanaians in this part of the country to find out their thoughts of the president's 2 years in government since he assumed office 2 years ago for his second term. Chief, okay, so let me do it this way so that we can really hear him out. Chief, now, social president Akufo-Addo second year, that was the second term. Who na mambo ni saying?
Nana do abona ho mo de wo twa mire na ye wo mu na e wi ase nyina ba bia ye de wo twa no ma a wo ye a wa ye ntutu ma pa skasam na asa ye de ba nye wo no a ba bia ye de.
Hey, na say nkofo kasa Ivory Coast ye obu be hey ba bia ye de na okay Ivory Coast nye de se Ghana o
me de me hwa de no ma e koso wi ase ye ba bia ye Ghana.
Oh, okay. And for all the 2 years no why are they am? Hey, what I don't know. Okay, all right. Then why are office am I money maintain?
Oh, sabre ya ye wo sabre ya ye wo mu. Send this in the was so anka ye nyina ye secret.
Hey,
anka bia ye dwane kula to wuram. Because abre na ye wo mu no, ye hwe o mama mu o mu bebu ye. Ene tama na saa no mani sisi ye. Ene ne ye wi ase nyina COVID. Ene Ukraine, Russia, and Tokani Adena, Uluman, Wabon Homotin.
Okay. So he thinks that the president has done well, given the circumstances pertaining in the global scheme of affairs. He feels the president has done well. He thinks that if he's to mark him out of 100, he would give him 90. Well, so that's his points there. Let me turn to another person here and find out from him his, estimation of government's performance in their second term. Hi, Jehovah. Also 2 years, he won the same. Hey, Nasikasemi suna mankofo emu se o man mo ayedin and the petrol kosoro ade a otu ade beti bi ane atu eno no enka me ntrɛ and you also only na ministers so we say on to so
ministers so me media we be akọ no mo do se bi o mo no mo do say yen fa ba ko do bia yen fa ba ko bia no
okay, all right then. Yeah, that's it. So there you have it. He also feels that the president has done well for a second term. The only thing he would want him to do is to work on the financial sector. That the issues happening in the financial sector is what is working against him. He again says he believes President John Akakpo is the president's elder brother, and so whatever he says, he has to listen. On the reshuffling of ministers, he says, well, if they are all performing, he doesn't have a problem. But like people are calling for, if he has to move one minister from one point to the other, it will help. He feels that must be done.
Right. So that's Samuel Kojo-Brace coming to us from the Market Circle in Takoradi. He's been some people's thoughts on the president's performance, and Benjamin, the first two people we've heard who strongly believe that things would have been worse if it was a different administration, and so they don't have a problem with what we are saying, just that they wish that some...
The first one to it says, NKSC created.
Yes, yeah.
Literally, our teeth would have even fallen out. His opinion.
Definitely, definitely. And I know you at home also have an opinion to share with us, and we will definitely take that. We'll take a few messages, and we'll be back with more this day. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying on the program. Benjamin Akakpo with that white. Would you mind sharing with us why you're smiling so white?
No, just some mischief.
You can smell Christmas. I can smell Christmas. It's my favorite time of the year.
So I saw a post the other day where someone was saying that, Charlie, Jesus forgive our money. I was in birthday, then we go celebrate time. It's not the usual mpampai odor of Christmas that you would have had. You would have, and it's not just, you would see stuff, you would feel stuff, you would get stuff.
Where are the lights?
I'm not even seeing, I'm not seeing the decorations, I'm not seeing, and we're in December, today is the 8th, you know. So it's obvious that certain things, the bite of the economy is taking a toll on all of us. But celebrate Christmas we shall, all the same. We cannot let another, memorial birth of the Christ child pass. But the point is, if you don't see what we would usually see, it's because of what we already know.
Right. So, we usually bring AM Business to you on Wednesdays, but today this week we've changed the program in a bit. So we're bringing it to you today, and it's Ketsi EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Emma Davis with our business desk has a feature which focuses on how tricycle riders in northern Ghana are surviving in these times.
In the northern parts of Ghana, the most common form of transportation is the tricycle, which is popularly known as Mahama Kambu, Keke, or over here it's called Yellow Yellow. Today, I'm trying to engage one of the riders and find out from him how he's surviving during these economic crises. Bashiru.
Yes, sir.
Please, how are you?
I'm fine.
How old are you?
I'm about 43.
43 years. And how long have you been doing this keke business?
Oh, I've got in this Yulu business for about 3 to 4 years now.
Okay. This seems to be like a very common source of income for most of the young men.
Yes, yes.
Why is that so?
Okay. The Yulu business is like, at first it was moving. The Yulu was moving, all right. So that's why I even decided to buy my own Yulu because I'm an electrician, I'm an auto electrician, and I'm qualified auto electrician.
Okay.
I have my own shop. So when they started Yulu business, I asked those people driving it, and I understand that it can help me small. So I decided to buy my own Yulu so that if I'm free, anytime I'm free in my shop, I'll be using my own Yulu. At first, if I'm not lying, it was helping me a lot. But now it's just that I cannot be sitting alone in my workshop like that while there's no work. So I just decided to be using it small so that I can be having small to feed my family.
How many children do you have?
I have 2 children.
2. One wife.
Huh?
2 children.
One wife, yes. One wife.
But you said first it was good business. Now it's not good. Why? What has changed?
Anytime, you know, if anything is not moving smooth again, it's about the fuel prices. They will increase almost every day. Last year to till this year, almost every day they are increasing fuel. So if they increase fuel now, if you increase the prices, the fare to the women they don't want to pay. And that's our problem.
So what is the fare now? What's the average fare?
The average fare, every area with the fare.
Okay.
Every area with the fare. For instance, if you are in Access Bank, there's some area we call it Stangani. At first we were taking, when we started this business, we were taking it 1 cedi. But now it's 2 cedi 50 per square. And the women, most of the old women, that's why we've been doing it. Most of the old women, you just decide to help them. They are not able to afford that first. So we just decided to help them. We are not taking it 2 cedi 50 per square. But most of the women, they don't pay. So we just decide to take it 2 cedi like that. Yes, that's how it is.
So now how much sales do you make in a day?
At first, if I'm not lying, the time the fuel was down and we were taking that particular area 1 cedi, I was able to make for about 150 cedi a day. But now, you can even buy petrol at the rate of 100 cedi itself. At the end of the day, you will not get 100 cedi and the fuel will finish. That's how it is now.
So since it is for you, you keep all the 150 cedis if you get.
Yes, at first, yeah.
So maybe from morning to evening, that is when you get the 150 cedis.
Yes, if I wake up in the morning around after prayers, early dawn, around 5 o'clock. If I start work before 6 o'clock in the evening, you can hold about 150 cedis. Yes, you're old. Without the fuel money itself.
Without the
fuel money.
So when you take out the fuel money, then the money has reduced?
No, it will not reduce. You just take off the fuel money and you still have about 150 cedis.
That was before?
That was before, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see. So all your children are in school?
Yeah, they are in school, yeah.
Okay. Comparing this and then your electrician business, will you go back?
Yes, if I have, because the work now we are just doing. We are just working and buying fuel, that's all. You work and take and buy fuel. You cannot even save anything. That's how it is now.
So what's your call to government?
Huh?
What do you want government to do for you?
The government, you just have to look to things and help us. What we want is the reduction of the fuel prices.
How long have you been driving yellow?
I started riding this yellow in 2019.
2019. And so far, how is business?
It's fine, but first it was fine than this time.
Why? What is happening now?
Now the fuel and the passes, the motor passes. You see, first time when this motor was come, the passes was down. When your motor something spoiled, when you go, the pass was down. But now the pass is cost too much.
So now how much do you pay for pass?
For pass, yesterday, I entered Baja office and asked for engine block. They said 740 cedis. And first we were buying it 200 Ghana cedis. Now just yesterday, I entered Baja office. I want to change my engine block. You see, first time when this motor bag was come, it wasn't have problems, but now it's growing old. Problems come a lot of this. Anytime something can spoil. Now tire, if you have to buy tire, 230 cedis. if you enter by if the Igbo peoples, when you go to Igbo people, they can sell it to you 180 cedis. But when you enter by their office, you buy 230 cedis. So sometimes, not only we are not talking only the fuel. The parts are also fast. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And not only the fuel.
So in a day, how much do you make from sales?
From sales, a day I sell 50 Ghana cedis.
50 Ghana cedis?
Yeah.
Morning to evening, you go?
Yeah, morning to evening.
You get 50 Ghana cedis?
Yeah, no, like my sales for...
Yeah, in a day, how much do you get?
A day, I can get 150 cedis.
Okay.
Sometimes 120 cedis, sometimes 100 cedis. And if I come out every day, I'll buy fuel 90 Ghana cedis.
That's how many liters?
90 Ghana. Yesterday they reduced the fuel, but 90 Ghana was 5 liters.
Okay.
But
break. We are almost there to break.
Okay. So 90 Ghana.
Wait.
Break.
Stop.
Okay. Okay.
You go fish shift more, or it's not possible?
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay.
It's okay.
Okay,
so how many liters is 90 cedis now?
It's now, yesterday they reduced the fuel distance small. So now 5 liters will be 85. Let's take it 85 because it was 90 Ghana cedis. And every day I'm using 5 liters. And some of us are using more than that. Those are running. For me, I have station. So when I load and come, I'll sit small. That one I will not consume more than the one those who are roaming. Some of us they are using more than 100 cedis.
Okay.
Some people buy 220 cedis. Some people 120 cedis. Some people buy 100 cedis. Okay. For which though our station, we have been buying 90 Ghana cedis, 80 cedis for a day.
Okay.
And if you come, you can't get 200 cedis. You can't get 200 cedis a day.
I see. So are you able to save some money?
To save the money, the sales.
Are you able to do small susu for yourself outside?
Yes. Yes. Sometimes I get some. Sometimes I no get.
So just like everybody gets they have something they want to do. Maybe they want to go to school again. Maybe they want to marry. They want to build a house. What do you want to use your money for right now?
Me now, as of now, I was a driver. So right now, I'm planning myself to go outside. So even the day Monday, I went for passport. I want to do passport because of that. Because I was a driver, so I want to go back for my driving. So I went back. I went and do passport. Last Monday, that was is it 18th? That was 18th. I went and do passport.
You want to leave Ghana?
Yeah. Yes.
You want to go and get money where? Which country?
Yeah. Like any country that I get, that will be better for me. I will go. That's my prayers.
Everyone is complaining about the current economic situation, and the tricycle drivers are no exception. They are also complaining, especially about the high inputs or the high increase in fuel prices. Reporting for Joy Business, my name is
It's 9:21. This is still the AM show with Benjamin and Bernice. It's now time to talk about graduate unemployment because it's a reality that we all are confronted with. We've had conversations about that. A bulk of graduates from universities and other tertiary institutions do not have jobs to do, either because they're non-existent or there's a mismatch between what they study in school, the skills they've acquired, and what the workplace demands. Well, there is a university that is hoping to change the narrative. It's proposing solutions, and that's the Heritage Christian University College located at Amasuman here in Accra. This morning I've been joined by Professor Williams Atilik. He's the provost of Heritage Christian University College, and Ebenezer Obuobidan, so he's the head of Enrollment and Student Success Department at the Heritage Christian University College. It's a very interesting one, Student Success Department. I've never heard about that before. Let's start on that note. Why do you have a Student Success Department, and why is that even important?
Well, thank you, and greetings to your cherished viewers. It's important because the bottom line of going to school is not just about acquiring the knowledge, but the student must be able to come out ready, big for the environment. So my office, which is the student success side, looks at ways, things, activities that will empower you in such a way that when you're out there, you are so confident to do all the things you can do beyond the paper you have acquired.
Interesting. I'll come back later for you to share with us what those activities are. But let me come to you, Prof. Unemployment. I mean, the world over, we've seen it. When COVID hit, there were countries that were slashing people. Sometimes it's not that the jobs do not exist, but it's because situations like COVID, the economy, force nations and governments to take certain decisions. Here in Ghana, we've seen that there's a freeze on public sector employment for next year, and we know this is as a result of our IMF bailout. So what's the big dream of your university in ensuring that students who pass through the school are made ready for employment?
Okay, thank you very much, Bernice, and thanks also to your viewers. You are very right, unemployment is a big issue. And the main challenge about unemployment is because of our own expectations, the creation of people from universities waiting to be employed. The public sector is not big enough to accommodate everybody. Private sector, the bulk of employment can come from small, medium-sized enterprises, and people have to be trained to be able to start their own business. The vision of this university, Heritage Christian University College, is to cultivate students who have hands-on skills and who have been properly trained practically to want to start their own businesses in whatever area of industry that their interest is, so they can get something doing, grow it, and then bring others along. And that is the way to solve unemployment in this country. All the countries that the rate of unemployment is low, if you check, it's because many of the citizens and the people living there are doing things by themselves, for themselves, and therefore helping society. And that is we want to be the flagship Christian university in Africa for the purpose of advancing the kingdom of Christ and national development. And we do so by training or providing education that cultivates conviction, character, creativity, compassion, and community life to serve God and neighbor. So it's all about getting people to learn how to do things with their hands and to support them. And that's why we have a student success department. So we don't just give you head knowledge, but we want to support you by holding your hands and providing resources. So by the time you are done, you know what to do. That's what we are in to do.
So Mr. Danso, what are the core values? What are the things that are at the heart of running this university?
Yeah, so like Prof said, we are looking at conviction. if a student is graduating from the university, the person should be able to feel that I have the faith in what I've done, I believe in what I've done, whatever talent you've been given, so you'll be able to use it. We also look at character. And in fact, if you are looking at the World Economic Forum, the next 10 core, skills that a graduate needs, you will find things like character, you will find problem solving, and that is where we are looking at creativity too, okay? Then we are also looking at compassion. Our graduates should be able to know that this is our country. We have to solve the problems ourselves. As we're just watching something on the television, the person said he's trying to travel. Yes, you travel, but then that doesn't change the story because your family will be here. So we want to train our students to have that mentality, that have compassion for your country. And if you're looking at the entrepreneurship, that is where we look at creativity again. If you are reading accounting, you are reading banking, theology, whatever you are reading, have it at the back of your mind that it is supposed to solve human problem. So problem solving skills there. So if you look at the five, that is, we have the 5 C's, which is the conviction, which is the character. We're also looking at the compassion aspect, and we are looking at, creativity, and then community. Creating a mindset that you should know that in your environment, you are there. Assuming there's nobody there, you are the one there to solve the problem. And that is what HEC offers to Ghana.
Interesting. So we are preaching entrepreneurship, you're preaching employment, compassion, having the character, which I believe resilience is a part of, because he brought in the bit of people wanting to lead the country and all that. Prof, are there any success stories you can share with us?
Yes. We are in our, we are entering our 7th year as a university college, and we are very glad and happy that so far we've inspired and facilitated the starting of a number of businesses by students, most of whom have graduated. At least we have about 20 student-led businesses that our Startup Challenge has helped to start. And these are businesses that are at different stages of development, and we continue to provide support to them. Some are doing very well, others are learning the rubrics of doing business. We have also inspired many other students who did not benefit from the startup grants that we offer, who have started their own businesses. Some started while they were in school, and we're very proud of those things. In 2018, we won a prestigious Fowler Global Social Innovation Challenge, which is a challenge organized by the University of San Diego. Out of over 53 Ivy League universities from all over the world, spanning from countries, more than 27 countries. Heritage Christian College had 3 of our students came up as the best to convert human fecal matter into charcoal. We've just set up a factory ready to start production as was pitched. And we are very proud of initiatives like that. Since 2018, we have come in the top 10 of the competition in each of the years after that. What it means is that we've really done some good job around entrepreneurship and businesses. I cannot end about success without emphasizing the fact that so far we have been able to come up with arrangements in the school that really help students to have hands-on in whatever that they are doing, practical training,
Right.
and we are very proud of that.
So what kind of programs do you offer?
So we run, we have the BBA options, that is Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, Banking and Finance, Human Resource Management, Business Information Technology Management, Marketing. And then we also have in the side that is Bachelor of Science for Business Technology. We also have Bachelor of Theology. And we have a host of programs that will be coming up latest by January, a host of programs that we hope to run very soon.
Interesting.
Beyond that, we have the Center for Professional Studies, where we have tutorials for almost all the business administration options. And beyond that, we also have short and courses and professional programs for our graduates. At HEC, beyond the classroom, we want our students to do something beyond their field. So we have also the Center for Entrepreneurship, Philanthropy and Ethics, which is a whole directorate that offers the hands-on. So it's like whatever you want to go through, you are trained, you are offered the skills.
And this doesn't come at an extra cost, does it?
Not at all. It's a whole facility that is there at the disposal of students. Then we have the Heritage Media Center. That media center is also there for students who want to add something like journalism, media studies, reporting, and investigation, and all those stuff. These things are there at the disposal of students. So beyond whatever degree you are pursuing, you have other things to add up, and that makes a difference.
And Bernice, if I may just add to what Dansoro has said. So we have an environment that offers students opportunity to take multiple skills beyond what you came to do. We give you an exposure to media because we have a Center for Media Studies. We give you the opportunity to do hands-on entrepreneurship because we have the Center for Entrepreneurship, Philanthropy, and Ethics. We give opportunity to those who want to have training in ministry and Bible through the Heritage Bible Institute. And we have a Center for Professional Studies that give our students the opportunity to start training for their professional exams. Those who want to become chartered accountants, chartered bankers, chartered marketers, and specialized programs in IT. You do, whilst you are a student, you get tuition in the professional programs free of charge. And we have a couple of our students, quite a number of them, who have progressed in the professional programs, almost close to becoming chartered whilst they are in school. And hopefully, a very good number of them, after graduation, will complete these programs very easily. All of these are preparing people to be able to start solving problems by themselves, and therefore get employed and not wait to join Unemployment Graduates Association.
And so these are the added advantages they have beyond what we've spoken about. But are there any more?
Yes, we have a very serene campus. So it's a small campus, but very serene, very conducive for academic work. It's technology driven. Every student has the opportunity. The whole campus is networked with Wi-Fi, and students are supported to acquire laptops. Every student must be in the university with a laptop. If you cannot afford one, we provide arrangement to get you one, and you pay over your 4-year period. And we have very compassionate, competent team of faculty who are very caring, and we are very deliberate because we want to provide Christian education. And so all the values that we want to inculcate in the students, we try to live those values. And so you meet a team of very caring, compassionate, and competent faculty helping you to succeed and coaching you. We provide support, grants, to students who have business ideas to start. As I told you earlier, we have given grants to about 20 different student startups, and they are all working. This Saturday, we will announce an award of a grant of 200,000 Ghana cedis to students who have already pitched their ideas for them to go and start their business. So you have several advantages, the opportunity to discover your talent, whether it is comedy, music, and we will provide support, attach you to people who are skilled in those areas so they can mentor you. So you don't just come and acquire a profession or a certificate, but you come to develop yourself completely and ready to start life by yourself with a lot of confidence.
Right. So the announcement will be made this weekend, and I suppose it's at the graduation ceremony. Can you just tell us more about that?
Well, so this year we're graduating our 4th batch of students this coming Saturday, and we are graduating 87 students from the liberal arts program, and 103 students who have trained as ministers of the gospel. It will be done this coming Saturday between 9 and 12. And the theme is around, entrepreneurship. The solution for, getting Africa out of all the challenges that we have is to train lots and lots of practical entrepreneurs who will want to dirty their hands on the ground.
But when the video was rolling, as we were having the conversation, I saw something that looked like a hospital setup, and Do you offer nursing?
So we will roll out a nursing program from February onwards.
Which is the next academic year.
Next academic year. The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission has just given us the authorization to proceed to roll out a Bachelor of Nursing degree. And so we have a very state-of-the-art nursing skills laboratory. That's what you saw. And so come February, we will roll out a nursing program.
We are wrapping up shortly, but I'd just like to find out, beyond the grants for students who are involved in startups, there are people who are concerned about payment of fees. What are the plans? Any scholarships, flexible payment structures?
Yes, we have scholarships and bursaries. For brilliant students who have 6 A's, we providing scholarships to students from year 1 to year 4. And for students who are already in, based on performance and based on need, there are different kinds of bursaries, but you apply and be considered by the scholarships committee. Either you get a bursary for a year. If your performance is good, you can continue to get those bursaries.
Right, very interesting. So, Mr. Danso, any contacts? How do people get in touch with the university? How do they get more information?
Yeah, so Heritage Christian University College is located behind Olympic Stadium, Amasaman. And our website is www.huc.edu.gh. Once you go to even Google and you type Heritage Christian University College,
it will link you straight to the website.
And with the social media, it's just Heritage Christian University College, you'll find us there. Contacts is 054-7777-731. And then we have 020-229-8399. You can reach us. And admission is in progress for the January intake.
So, Prof, I'll give you the last word. What message do you have for people who are looking to further their studies and for parents who are also looking for schools to take their awards to?
Well, if you're a parent or a student from senior high school and you're looking to go to university, if your interest is to be able to start your business even whilst you are in school, with support, good seed money, look the direction of Heritage Christian College. If you want to hone skills that give you a head start in life and to develop holistically your character, your profession, to become a professional immediately after school, apart from academic this thing. So if you are looking for total discovery of yourself and to be a person that contributes in a dignified manner to society, we have put in place programs and support systems to help you succeed. So come to Heritage Christian University College and we will provide you with help.
Right. So I'm sure the calls have started coming through for those of you who want to take advantage of what Heritage Christian University is offering. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me this morning. Professor Williams Atulik is Provost of Heritage Christian University College, and Ebenezer Obobi-Danso is Head of Enrollment and Head of the Student Success Department. I'm very interested in that at the Heritage Christian University College. The first time I'm hearing such a department in a school, and they've been sharing with us the school's vision and mission to have holistic development of students and people living within this part of the world, and ensuring that we are changing the narrative when it comes to employment and development. Well, you're still watching the AM show. I know you have a lot to share with us, especially on the conversations we've had on the assessment of President Akufo-Addo 2 years into his second term, and what you think should be the way forward. We'll be back to take your concerns right after that.
Welcome back on the AM show. And of course, this is where we usher you in and take your thoughts on all the matters we've been discussing. Hopefully you've enjoyed the conversation. So let us know what is on your mind. That number will be rolling on your screens shortly. 0302-211-691. 0302-211-691. Bernice?
Yes, and we'd love to hear what you have to share with us. I mean, Benjamin, we've been focusing on assessing the president's performance, of course, his administration's performance, and also taking the thoughts of some of our analysts on the debt exchange program, the suggestions by Occupy Ghana. What do we do moving forward? We've shared some of the thoughts of our followers on Facebook, some talking about reviewing the Constitution being the way, others thinking that, well, we can still put in a little here, a little there until we get to that point, because that's actually a medium to long-term solution. So,
and in Takoradi, some also being very optimistic and saying, look, this administration has actually done very well. So
exactly. We'll see what you have to say. I don't know what you have to say, and that's why we are opening the phone lines. We have our first caller from Tamale. Hello, Ibrahim. Good morning to you. Share your thoughts with us. Good morning. Hello, Ibrahim. If you can hear me, kindly speak up and listen to me over the phone.
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right.
Yes, I want.
The line is terrible. Sorry, Ibrahim. I think you'd have to reposition yourself and call us back. I suspect it's a network issue.
Maybe we should try just one more time with Ibrahim. If you can hear us, try. Let's try one last time.
But your line is breaking badly, Ibrahim. Do you mind repositioning yourself?
Okay.
Too bad. Ibrahim, apologies for that. Please, when you call us, try and find the best point of network. If you live in an area like mine, you would suffer problems like this, Benjamin. I know there are spots in my house when I stand, you won't hear anything that I say. So just find a good spot for us, Ibrahim. And when you also call us, please listen to us over the phone or the television set so you can respond in real time to our questions. And would also like to bring you some messages while we wait for our calls from the Ghana Revenue Authority. Well, it wishes to inform you that persons wishing to apply for tax clearance certificates should do so online via www.taxpayersportal.com or download the Ghana Taxpayers app on Google Play Store or App Store. Applicants who visit our taxpayer service centers will be assisted by officers of the authority to apply. Applicants are also required to indicate the taxpayer identification number, the TIN, of the institution or organization requesting the certificate so that they can receive a copy. Applicants should take note and be guided accordingly. Kindly contact GRA toll-free number 0800 900 110 or contact GRA via these WhatsApp numbers 055 299 0000 or 0200631664 or send an email to info@gra.gov.gh for further inquiries. We have Abdullah from Tamale. Hello, Abdullah. Let's hear you.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
First, I want to assess them on the employment.
Right.
Specifically, the nursing aspect. I'm a nurse who completed 2019. And since these people came into power, it's only 2-year group that they post, 2016 and 2017 and 2018. The rest of the badges are still sitting at home.
Well, we were informed that there was some clearance happening at the Finance Ministry to enable some of you to be employed. Were you part of that group or not?
Well, we are not part. They didn't give clearance. They just put our name in the decision.
Right.
How can you give someone clearance and still she sat in the home for more than 1 year?
Right, Abdullah. So what's the way forward for you? We are looking at the way forward in solving these problems.
And they are even saying 2023, they don't employ anybody. So we are just, we don't know what to do.
Right. Thank you for joining the program. Let's head to Labadi now. Jones is joining the program from there. Hello, Jones. Good morning.
Yes,
what do you have to share with us? George.
Yes.
Sorry about that, George. Let's hear you.
Okay. So I just wanted to add to it that, you see, I believe that in Ghana, our problem really is not the leader, it's the people, okay? Wow. In the sense that if I watched the interview that was done by the Takoradi, the way he was assessing the government, you could imagine that most of Ghanaians do not know how to appraise the government or appraise government, you know. And so it happens that you don't get the best out of the any government that comes to power. We assess them poorly and we don't know how to demand. It's not about the leader, I think it's about the people. Because we got somebody like Nkrumah, look at how we treated him. If he's a visionary leader, look at how we treated him. We got somebody like Maham, look at how we treated him. So I think it's about the people. Most of the people do not know how to choose right. And that's how we are suffering like that. Because if you see the deaths in our communities and the people are just not, I mean, they are just like, you know, reluctant adamants. It's about the people. So unless the people change lifestyle or perception or upgrade, we are going to be here for a very long time.
Thank you, George. George sharing his thoughts with us. Benjamin, or could it be just that people are using different indicators in measuring?
Well, it could very well be that, but he has a point. You know, sometimes, I'm sorry to say, the lack of a proper understanding of the political process, democracy, leadership, and all of that. So people vote on very, sometimes, ignorant lines. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, we have Kwabna, not the musician from Circle. Hello, Kwabna. Good
Disclaimer.
morning. Let's hear you.
And I'm happy to join you this morning.
We are glad that you could. Share your thoughts with us.
Well, if you ask me to assess this government, I would say in terms of infrastructural development, I will mark him 80 over 100. Because I am a bus driver. I drive from Accra to Tamale, to Chiman, wherever. And looking at the ongoing project from Ofankor to Sawam to Apega, I mean, it's a plus for me. The government is doing well. But in terms of the economy, that is where I have a problem with the government. The economy. So,
so what percentage? You gave us for infrastructure, you said 80%. So for the economy, what will it be?
Yeah, the economy is not well.
What will your score be in percentage terms?
Madam. Hello.
Hello, Kwabna, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
I'm saying that for infrastructure, you give government 80%.
Yes.
What percentage will you give government for the economy?
The economy, I'll give the government 40%.
Well, thanks for joining us and sharing your thoughts. We will be able to squeeze in one last caller, Suleimana from Adansi. Suleimana, let's hear you.
Good morning to you and good morning to our charity.
Good morning.
I want to assess the government and I'll look at the agri sector. I am an agriculturist and now I've noticed that much of our food consumed is being imported into the country. Meanwhile, we have vast area of land that can be used for cultivation. Rice, for instance, is taking much of our currency. Then look at the land that we have for cultivation of rice. Inputs are very high. Cost of production is becoming high. All our lowland areas, especially in the Ashanti region and other parts of the country, are being used for galamsey. So if government is able to tackle all this and make sure that cost of production under the rice sector reduced, I believe the economy can turn around.
Thank you so much, Suleimana. That's all time will allow us. And Suleimana there sharing his thoughts with us. And just a bit on what he said, we know what the plans are in the budget. We've been told there will be some arrangements to get us to stop the importation of some items and begin to locally grow and produce them. Well, We are just about ending our show, but before I go, the Ghana Revenue Authority also wishes to inform you, especially those of you who've registered for value-added tax VAT, that the Domestic Tax Revenue Division has commenced the implementation of an electronic invoicing system of VAT referred to as eVAT. Kindly contact GRA toll-free on 0800 900 110 or via WhatsApp 055-299-0000 or 0200631664 for further enquiries. And before we go,
most definitely, before we go, let's celebrate a few people. We celebrate former President of the Republic, John Ejekum Kufuor. Today is his birthday. I doff my hat to you, sir. Yeah.
Long
There's
life.
also our very own Mama Sophia. I call her Mama because she's mother to our director, one of our favorite directors.
Yes.
Yao Forson, lovely person. Sophia Forson, formerly of the Kolebu and Tema General Hospitals. Happy birthday to you. It's from Bernice, Benjamin, Yao, and the entire crew. We love you and thank you for giving us such a wonderful son. Yeah.
And there's a last one, Sairam.
Oh, Sairam Kowo of the University of Cape Coast. I think it's the business school. Sairam Kowo, a very happy birthday to you as well.
All right, and to any other person watching us, if today is your birthday, our heartfelt prayer is that you will be blessed and you would live long to see the better days of Ghana. Amen.
Amen.
And on
that very positive note, we say bye-bye to you. Have the best of the day. What's up next?
News Desk is up next Tuesday.
Great.